Morning, guys. It's the big day. The Springboks play Argentina today. And what a week. It's been building up. Some magnificent stories going around about Eben Etzebeth. His teammates have been speaking about him. Um, and I think we're going to probably kick off the show with that. This is just really a countdown show for those who haven't watched one of these before. We don't show the game. So unfortunately, we don't have broadcast rights for that. But what we do is we go through the week and we give you the build up and how things have gone in the camp. So to start off with, I think we will start off with just that. Of course, we got you on Monday. We just remember there's a quick reminder of what happened while we in last week's game and while we're here at the moment.
Salir. Manny Livo para ganar el partido. Remate de Livo que afuera. Remate de Livo que afuera. Desperdició la oportunidad.
Now, one of the reasons why the Springboks haven't won the rugby championship was that missed kick, but it wasn't the only reason. The Boks weren't particularly great in their play. So, they've got to go put it right now. The permutation is quite clear. Argentina can win the rugby championship if they beat the Springboks, deny them a bonus point. That means they must beat them by more than 7. And then and deny them, obviously, the tries, that the 3 tries thing. And then if they score 3 more tries than the Springboks, then they get a bonus point. That's the way they win the rugby championship. Anything else will hand the rugby championship to the Springboks. Of course, the Boks are quite intent that they want to win this one. So it's going to be quite an interesting one to see how it plays out. I think the Boks are going to be a lot more focused. I think they're going to be ready for this game. But I think it's really a fascinating one because Argentina haven't been able to back it up in the past. Their second week, always there's a dip in their play, and this is really a challenge for them as well. So let's have a look how they do. But yeah, let's get into the week. We all sort of came back. The Boks and Argentina got into the same flight. They chartered Ethiopian Airlines flight, which took them straight to Nelspruit. They're both on the same flight, the teams. So there's no real advantage for a team waiting for the other one. And when they got here, first up on Monday was Don Heman and Jaden Hendrickson. So take a look.
News conference, we've got Don Heman, assistant coach, and Jaden Hendrickson. Yeah, we're very small and there's no online questions, so just raise your hands for questions and then we can get cracking.
Don, maybe I can ask you, I know you're not the right guy to ask, but is there anybody that's not available for this weekend? You know?
At this point, I don't think there's any injuries, so I think everybody is available for this game. So yeah.
just maybe following that one up, just a sense of disappointment at not getting over the line in Argentina after getting so close. You guys don't lose often, but I'm sure that it's still never nice to go through.
Are you talking about the try line?
The result.
Okay.
Santiago.
Yeah, obviously we've been very disappointed. We always knew that it's going to be tough playing them there. There's a couple of guys that played there for the first time, which is not always. They haven't been there, so they know the stadium pressure, and for them it was an experience as well. And hopefully for them going forward, they would have learned something out of it. So yeah, disappointed. Yes, obviously 100% we are disappointed, and we know there's a lot of areas that we actually can improve on.
Just obviously that makes this week all the more important. You need to sew up the rugby championship. You've got one hand on it already, but you've got to make sure that it doesn't slip. Just the attitude going this week in the team.
I think there's a great vibe in the team. One hand on it, I wouldn't say it that way. We haven't got a hand on it yet. We only can give it a hand on it if we're able to beat them. And I know it's going to be very tough. We all know we're all desperate, like they are. I think it's the best time ever since when they're part of the championship that they actually had 3 good results against all 3 teams, or all 4 teams, all 3 teams that they're playing against. So yeah, I think it's a great, they're in a great place as well. But we definitely 100% sure what's waiting us and what's need to be put in place to have a good result against them.
Don, if you look at the permutations to win the championships, quite straightforward. Is that a discussion at all, or is it just focus just to win Saturday's test?
I think at the moment we're all thinking about one game. We're not looking at trophies, and obviously that can happen only if we beat them. But the one thing that we must definitely have a look at ourselves, where we can be better at in all certain areas, and then everything is possible. But there's going to be a lot of hard work into a very short week that needs to be done before we're actually able to beat them. But as I said, hard work will pay off at the end of the day. So whether it's on the field or in here, what we're actually trying to do at the moment now, we're going to need everything to beat them.
Just if you look at the log, would you say the 2 teams battling it out on Saturday's the 2 best teams in the competition this year?
Well, definitely. I mean, it's been tough for the New Zealand, who's also, they got a new coach and they busy also building, as they say, we're all building. We're trying to build every day on our last performance. But yes, they definitely, if you get a side that actually being able to beat all 3 sides, then I suppose the 2 best teams is on top of the log at the moment. I'm not saying at all that it was easy against Australia, although we beat them twice there, and definitely we had a bit of luck as well, but we were able to beat New Zealand twice here. But I think so.
Don, after losing on a week like that, obviously I imagine the guys you left behind was part of the plan. But when you come back after having actually lost, how much of the selection becomes reaction to the result and sort of just keeping with the plan?
I reckon that's one of more of those questions that Rassi needs to answer. But anyway, I'll give you my thoughts on it. I think there was a certain reason, a certain planning going into the whole season from the start of the competition. So I think we planned to actually go and try to beat them there. We couldn't, but it's not taking off the task. We still have our plan. We still need to implement our plan, and definitely if there's going to be made a couple of changes, then so be it. But I don't think there wasn't a guy with a lack of effort playing over there. I think we really tried very hard to beat them. Unfortunately, it comes down to 1 point, and we're not going to use any excuses. As I said earlier, we're going to try to work hard in all the areas to cover it all and to be much better the weekend.
Speaking of 1 point, I think you guys were quite mindful of the fact that when you were winning, in the quarterfinals, semis, and the final, it was on the right side of the result. And now that you've been on the wrong side of that result twice this season, do you think it's starting, that penny starting to drop in South African fans? Like, when you win by a point, it doesn't make you king of the world, or when you lose by a point, it doesn't make you the worst team in the world?
No, not at all. As I said, I mean, at the end of the day, it came down to 1 point, but I don't think so at all. I think what we almost try to avoid is not ending up coming down to a 1 point win. That's the ideal world. Unfortunately, it's Test rugby. It's a bit tougher than club rugby. Tougher to score tries, and obviously, if you make a couple of mistakes, it ends up more or less on conceding points.
Goeiemôre, welkom in die Laagveld.
Dankie.
Ek's Andri van Radio Laagveld 100.5 FM. My vraag is tweeledig, beide aan afrigter en spelers. Tot in watse mate, ons almal weet daar's 'n miljoen afrigters, skeieregters en spelers daar buite. So tot in watse mate hou julle sosiale media dop? En indien wel, wat is die proses van selektief wees ten opsigte van wat om te antwoord en wat nie?
Ja, interessante vraag. Weet jy, want ek is self op sosiale media, ek dink my kinders het vir my ietsie oopgemaak daar. Dit was nie ek self nie. So is nie my ding eintlik nie. Ek sal nie sommer kommentaar lewer daarop sosiale media nie. Ek weet nie die jonger geslag nie. Kyk, ons is vriende. Ons is nie sulke goeie vriende dat ek praat oor hulle sosiale media besigheid nie. Ek weet nie, natuurlik seker almal, dis mos 'n nuwe wêreld waarin ons lewe. En hulle het natuurlik seker as jy goeders daarin lees of wil lees. Maar soos ons altyd sê aan ons kant, wat ons aan ons kant kan reg doen is, ons kan maar net bly hard werk. En as dit 'n invloed op hulle het, ek dink in hierdie spanomgewing waar ons is, wat Rassie hier geskep het, dis 'n veilige omgewing. Dis 'n plek waar ons wil wees, dis 'n plek waar ons veilig voel, en dis 'n plek waar ons mekaar omgee. Ek hoop nie dit is te veel woorde nie, maar ek kan vir een ding verseker, dis 'n omgewing waarin jy wil wees en waar almal veilig voel, spelers, afrigters, maar ons almal weet hier moet ons kant bring. En ek dink dit laat ons in die oomblik waar ons lekker kan ek sê tight voel, en dis waar ons gelukkig is.
Dankie.
Jaden, after your brother's heroics in the Currie Cup final, did you feel like you let the side out a bit by not being able to get over the line on Saturday?
Nah, not really. So I was really happy for him for where he started off at Marty's and now ending up at the Sharks. So I was really delighted for him. Really happy for him. So yeah.
Jaden, just on after the loss, there's obviously been a lot of people who've maybe gone a bit overboard and blamed Marnie for missing that kick. As from a player's point of view, just how do you guys, one, rally around a guy like Marnie in a situation like this, and two, just how does it feel as a player when something like that goes wrong and you get obviously the outrage or the outcry is maybe not is emotional and not nuanced a little bit.
Yeah, no, like when Mani was at the Sharks, I backed him 100%. Even if he does something wrong, I will still back him. So even if he kicks miss, I'll 100% back him. So like Coach Tony showed us now in the review, we had a lot of opportunities. So we can't say about the last kick. We had a lot of opportunities in the game to actually cleanse it. So yeah.
Jaden, so I know yesterday the bodies and minds were quite tired when you guys arrived at the airport, but was it still quite heartwarming to see the reception that you guys got from the locals, from the fans and everyone around?
Yeah, no, it was. It reminded. I actually told Kainen now in the room yesterday. It reminded me of trophy tours. So it was nice when the people came out, support you. You know, people back you all the way, no matter you win or lose. So yeah, it was really delightful as players.
I'm not sure if you've had the chance of playing at Mbombela Stadium before, but it's known as a stadium that's usually got great atmosphere. So is that something that you as a player and that the whole contingent is really looking forward to on Saturday?
Yeah, no, I did play the last time here against the All Blacks, so yeah, it was nice. The crowd is right here, close to you, so I really liked it when I played here. So yeah.
Probably one of the best crowds in South Africa. I mean, that atmosphere that when we arrived here today was unbelievable.
Are you backing us to beat the national anthem from earlier in the season?
I think you can top it up.
Fantastic.
Don, to take you back to this past weekend, what were your thoughts on Ox's performance? Because quite a standout.
Yeah, well, sorry.
I said in that heat.
Yeah, in that heat. Obviously, we always prepare, like I said in the past, for worst case scenarios. I must say we did train in that circumstances. So it was actually a team performance. You're talking about scrum or individual. Scrumming wise, I think it's always a team effort. We'll never go, listen, it's a one-man show there. But I can assure you that we did everything that we could to be performant. And I must say, I'm proud of him. As I said to him earlier on the flight, I still think he can be better. Yeah.
Where do you think he can be better?
Now in all areas.
Jack, just for you personally, when you do compete against or in a big pool scrum halves like you do you get a bit of desperation to get game time, and when you do get game time to put in a strong performance?
Yeah, no, it's nice having competition. It brings the best out of you, and it keeps you on the feet, keeps you level-headed, because every day you have to work harder. Even every training session you have to work harder. So for me, I like it when there's competition. It will keep me grounded and keep me to work every day. So yeah.
And just coming back to your brother Sharks now, are you looking forward to playing alongside him for the Sharks?
Yeah, no, I am. I basically, he stays with me now also in Durban. So yeah, I'm really happy for him to be there now, and I can't wait for us to play together.
Who's going to be the best Hendricks in the Sharks team?
I don't know. What do you think?
Jaden, tell me something. Is a week more or less enough for you to climatize from playing one place to another? Because Saturday's climate in Nelspruit is going to be really hot. It's like 37 degrees and it's huge humidity as well. So is a week enough to sort of climatize, or are you used to jumping from one continent to the other and climatizing?
I think we used to it now. We do it in URC, and we're professional players, so yeah, we look after our bodies well. So we do it in URC week in and week out. So I think we're used to it.
When you say you look after your bodies, what do you guys actually actively do?
Sleep. That's what I do. Sleep. Do recovery massages. So yeah.
Don, the Lowveld is obviously it's a bit of a breeding ground for some serious rugby talent that we see throughout the history of South African rugby. Does that mean the Lowveld in Bombela, as if we can get hyper local, holds a specific special place in the heart of the Springboks for a lot of the players who have played for the Pumas or have just grown up here now?
Yeah, I think if you think of players, I think Vincent Kroch, he played here, Faf played here, I think Dwayne is from this area as well. And I could see that Dwayne's from this area when we got here yesterday. People were really happy to see him back here. But yeah, I think the last time that we had a test match here was so welcoming. Everybody was looking so forward to coming back to Bombela, especially the fact that we've been accepted here and been how can I say, how we've been experienced that week that we had here last time. It was special. We're staying here in a special hotel, as you can see out there. I mean, it's what a privilege to be here. And I think there's not one that's not happy to be back here. Obviously, hopefully we can deliver for them, the public. And I think we owe them actually, especially after Saturday, we owe the public, we owe ourselves, and we owe the whole country, because I know the whole country is behind us, and hopefully we can make them proud on Saturday.
Don, in that second half, very powerful scrumming performance for probably the first 65-70 minutes, but in comparison to that, you guys struggled in those last maybe a couple of technical points there. Just you've now obviously watched the tape again. What happened in those last sort of 10 minutes? The scrums there with Carrot and Jan Hendrik?
Yeah, I must just come in there. Lately, we actually privileged. It's all on hard disks. It's not anywhere on the tapes. But anyway, yeah, I think, you know what, Jan Hendrik's only his second test back. Oh, well, first test as a hooker, I think, at the national level. The first one was at prop. And I think he actually did very well. Obviously, there will always be, you know, new combinations. Although we worked hard in the week to get the timing right, one or two times they didn't. Oh, I don't say they didn't take the heat, but then we had a dominance on the heat, and then we went down for that. So I'm actually glad that. Yes, the referee had a lot of patience as well, which we were glad to, because it's young guys coming in and try to make a statement. At least they were eager to scrum, and that's what we're working to get out of them. They were not hesitating, they were eager. And I think he actually did very well, Jan Hendrik, when he came on, especially in the loose. He played very well. Obviously, we want to top up all the hard work from the start of the game till the end of the game. It starts somewhere, from that very first scrum where we had a good scrum, and then little by little they found their feet as well, and they got better. And as we made the subs, I think in the second half we had really dominance, which we are glad for. But our pressure plan will never work if we didn't do it in the first half. So yes, we're glad for the bomb squad guys came on and make a difference. But that's only doable if the first guy starters do their job properly. So we're glad for that.
I was going to ask you as well, your department is probably the one that Rossi doesn't have to fight about too much. You guys have been pretty successful over the last couple of years, and especially this season. How do you keep it from there becoming some complacency in the scrum? Because obviously you almost expected, fans almost expect you to go into every scrum and now win a penalty now.
Expectations is a big thing. I'll always say, like my father always used to say to me, don't tell me what you're going to do, tell me what you've done. Yeah, so it comes down to that, speaks to our team as well. It's basically everyone, we want to go for whatever we want to get the best result out of it. But I think it speaks to our training sessions. The training sessions is as intense, and I think with the 2 or 3 different front rows that we actually have here, we keep ourselves like a based on the ground. As tough as possible. We know every day anyone can start, anyone can finish the job for us, but we keep them nice on the ground there, and they realize it's a team effort, it's not a one-man show. So once becoming a one-man show, you think you're getting a little bit high. I try to always, keep your feet on the ground, your head on your shoulders. I think obviously if you hurt someone, you will obviously always coming back harder the next time, and we must expect that. We must expect that from them this week as well, and we must work on ourselves where we can get it better. Because yes, we must focus on them. It's vital, 100% it's vital. But let's work on ourselves where we can get better, and that's how it's a way to keep their feet on the ground as well, to see where we can improve. Sorry.
Guys, we can ask in Afrikaans now as well, because we're running out of time.
Ask one last thing.
Yeah.
Don, just to take you back to Jan Hendrik, you've been around front rowers most of your life. Obviously him playing 2 positions in the front row, is there one you look at him and think this is his better position?
Not at the moment, actually, because I think he had a proper game against Australia over there for the first time, and he played against a guy which almost got 80 caps. I think he did a great job there for us. Unfortunately, I think on Saturday there was only 2 or 3 scrums, and he had only 1 line out, which he got 100% right. It's never, for us, he's a swinger. He can play not yet tight head. We work on that. I'll get him there. It's going to take a little bit of time, but for the moment we see him as a prop and a hooker. I think he can be a world-class player going forward, but there's other props as well. He must first make the team. So we're backing all the guys, and once they're in there, it's a team effort. So then we'll always try to pack the lunchbox as proper as that we can eat well. So get him well prepared for where he's going to play.
Just in English, guys, big week for Eben. I suppose we would be amiss if we didn't ask you guys about Eben and his influence on the team. Maybe anything personal that you guys, stories that you guys have about Eben, Jaden, even at the Sharks, if there's something you remember as well.
Yeah, I know it's a big milestone. I was still 11 years old when I saw Eben made his debut, so yeah, it's a big milestone to be the most capped Springbok. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it's I still think he's a better person than he is a rugby player. He's a wonderful guy. He's coachable. He's got the most caps at the moment. He most probably will be the most capped player ever for South Africa on Saturday. But he's a good guy, feet on the ground, always willing to learn, and he's a team man. I think if there's one guy that I can think of, if you look at a Springbok, it's Eben Etzebeth standing out. So yeah, he's a great example for all the youngsters as well, and for the whole team. I think it's one guy that put the Springbok always first.
Yeah, and then it was on to the team announcement on Tuesday, where a lot of anticipation what was going to happen with Manie the BOK after he missed that penalty. The Boks have doubled down, they've backed him. Rassie doubled down and chose him again in the starting lineup, which is a very interesting thing to do, because there's been a lot of criticism on Manie, and selected a very good team. Selected a team that all the guys who stayed behind, who had a bit of a rest, were basically selected, and they now in the squad as such, and it's a much stronger, much more balanced team, and you can see this is a team that they want to go out and get the job done. Of course, Rassie doubling down on Manie is one thing. They feel they have to show him the support, and Manie's not a bad player. And they spoke about taking, sort of making other plans regarding the goal kicking. So let's first listen to Rassie and Bongi, and then they also talk a bit about Eben and his 100th, and just what the meaning, why this is such an important thing for the Boks to try and win this rugby championship right now. A lot of them say they've won 2 World Cups, but they haven't won a full rugby championship. Of course, the last one in 2019 that they won was a single round, was before the World Cup. So they really see it as something that they can still achieve. So have a listen to Rassie, Bongi, and Jaco Paper, who also spoke a bit about uncontested scrums, and he spoke about Ben O'Keefe, the referee on Saturday, who's going to obviously be in the cauldron, in the man in the middle. The stadium is sold out, 42,000 people, and it's just they're obviously expecting a big game. Now, Ben O'Keefe's come under some criticism in the past from other fans saying he favoured South Africa in the World Cup. I think this is a bit unfair. I think he's a good referee. All you want is a decent contest on Saturday and consistency. So anyway, take a look. This is Rassie, Jaco Paper, and
Bongi Mbonambi, and our laws advisor, Jaco Paper. Same as always, please raise your hands for questions. English first for the first 20 minutes, and then we'll go to Afrikaans. Okay, cool. Fire away.
Rassie, maybe let's just start with Manie. He's obviously been widely criticised. You've been asked already if you back him, etc. This is the ultimate way to back the guy in the next game by selecting.
Yeah, no, definitely. We had a team had a little laugh at a few of the memes and stuff that went around and had a look at it. And then we see it as, people who hasn't gone through that, hasn't felt that kind of pressure and doesn't know how tough it is. And we totally understand that people will criticize him and he takes it on the chin. And we all as a management team and as a coaching staff, we take it on the chin. But the only way to get a guy like him through this is to get back onto the horse and ride it till it's flat again. So, and we certainly have made some plans. The way we want to play Manie is integral this weekend, and then we've made some other plans with the goal kicking as well, which hopefully will work.
I was going to ask you good afternoon, gentlemen, good afternoon. I was going to ask you just as a follow-up to my colleague's question. We've got millions and millions, you guys as Springboks, as coaches, millions and millions of Springbok support, very passionate about this very brand and these Springboks. Can I ask you,
what is your thoughts on how South Africans and Springbok sports support their team and criticize their players when things are not going the Springboks way?
No, we totally understand that. I mean, when we play well, we take the credit and we smile and we're happy, and the guys love the positivity and how people praise them, and we take that. So when we're not playing well and when we're not doing things as well, they surely have the right to criticize, and especially if we did not put in all the effort in a specific game, which I did not think was last week's case. I really thought Argentina played well. But then when it comes to individual things, if you take that game, Argentina missed 3 kicks at goal and we missed 2 at goal. So I think we missed 4 or 5 try opportunities, which is much more, how can I say, bad than missing a kick like that. But Mani, he's a professional. We professionals. We all around him, and he's starting again this weekend. Another chance of a guy like Andre. I think there's 18 World Cup winning Springboks part of the match day 23.
Great Villiers van Radio Laagveld 100.5 FM. There's a perception that the new game plan has adversely affected the performance of the starting 9s. How do you keep them motivated if their job's that much harder?
The first time I hear about that is adversely to the 9s. It's actually, I think a guy like Jaden who's starting this weekend is very exciting for the younger 9s. Grant Williams, Jaden, a guy like Faf has been out, Herschel has been out, and Kobus, he's already in his 33, I think. So no, I think having the 2 mate on the bench for maybe the latter part of the game in Kobus, and a guy like Jaden, I think will actually flourish in the way we want to play. He's a natural footballer, and I don't think the game plan is, whoever said it, I disagree with that.
Yes.
Rusty, a lot is being said about the scenario that needs to play out for Argentina to win the Rugby Championship. They beat the All Blacks, they beat the Springboks, they topped the Aussies by 40 points. They've scored the most points, they've scored the most tries. Unlikely, but not impossible. Your opinion?
No, it's definitely possible. I think our team have showed that many things are possible when the odds against you, and Argentina is very a similar country like us. I think, as I said there in my previous interview, I think rugby championships for us in Argentina, at the latter part of it, we are always playing each other at the end. And when you play home first and then fly with the team back home, you don't really get the benefit with them flying back with us here. You don't really get any benefit from flying and jet lag and time zones and those kind of things. So you're flying back with them, they got the same stress or tiredness or whatever would affect them. So the way we try to counter that is by sending guys over there, hoping and trying to beat them with that team. Got a bonus point, would have loved to win, but now hoping that our chances is much better with 6 fresh guys on this side who didn't play, and also Eben who didn't play a full match on that side, and also Sia who would be fairly fresh. So there's a little bit of science behind it, but with all means we do think Argentina believes they can do it, and that's what we would have to stop.
Ben O'Keefe is the referee. He's been criticised by Eddie Jones and DuPont in the past that he's biased towards the Springboks. Does that have a negative effect on the team? How do you approach that?
Yeah, look, if you have the privilege like me, who lived with Ben in an environment for 10, 12 years, you know he's a medical doctor. He's a very smart man, so balanced, such a good individual. But then when you look at him referee, he'd also know from experience that if you listen to those outside voices, and if you look at this match any different than trying to do the best for this match and deal with what's in front of you, that's when it gets messy for a referee. So you can't think of all those things. He's too experienced, and Ben will just try and do a good job and try and service this game. It's a playoff for any referee. I mean, this game decides the championship, and Ben's done British Lions games that decided outcome of the series. He's done World Cup quarterfinals, us against Ireland at the World Cup, always within 1 or 2 points. And Ben knows when it's within 1 score, the team that loses, their fans are loaded, and they'll be critics. So if South Africa lost against France with that 1 point, it would have just been a reverse. So I think Ben is smart enough.
in picking this team and making the changes you guys have changed, what is it that you're trying to impress from last weekend?
Yeah, I think the one thing that Argentina really does well, they don't even have a provincial competition where they're playing together. But I think Filippo's got with his team that Argentinian old spirit back where they're really passionate and they believe in the way they're playing. And they're certainly a team that likes it fast and loose. And when we hit the ground there, it was 40 degrees and we were flying just over there. We certainly felt that in our legs and the pace was really high. That's why hopefully we can contain those. It was actually we got the yellow card and at 10 minutes they scored 2 tries and then actually in 17 minutes they scored all their points. And I think the second half was 6-3 for us. So it's that moments of brilliance which they have. They've got a lot of sevens background players which it's not a lot of structure which they break you down with. But when they break you down, like Australia 60 points, New Zealand not even a bonus point, and us only a bonus point against them. So it's certainly, and the average age I think is 27, 28. So they're a nice settled team with a coach that knows how he wants to coach them and a team that knows how they want to play. So we'll try and play in our terms this weekend, and we didn't totally manage that 100% away.
So Bongi, good afternoon, welcome back to the team. Bongi, can I ask you, your coach has constantly been talking about ahead of the test in Santiago, that if you guys don't manage to win the match over there, this match will be as a final. Is there added pressure on you guys as more experienced players, leaders, to deliver the goods this weekend? And then the second part of my question is, as a leader, how do you guys back a player like Mane who's been a bit under pressure this past weekend? And so please say something about your teammate, Ibn Etzebeth,
Yeah, and I think we know. I think we all understand the magnitude of this game coming this weekend. We know Argentinians are always tough. We always respected them. I think they bring the physicality that we kind of also want to bring to other teams. This game this weekend is going to be important. It's going to be vital. But obviously, we have made plans. We had a meeting yesterday, and we just stick to our reality. We know our reality what it is. And we know that we have Springbok standards we want to achieve in the game. So it's definitely going to be a massive one. And coming to Mane, I mean, talking from experience, in 2016 when we lost to Italy, through the last line out there and we lost it. And I mean, I got my name dragged to the mud and all that. And it does come with playing for the Springboks, playing at the highest level. You make a mistake and cost you a test match. And someone like Mane, someone who's been through a lot also in his life. I mean, outside of rugby. I think this is for him. It's just another challenge, just to prove himself to himself first of all, and to everyone else that he is a fly off of international standards, especially in the Springbok jersey. So it's going to be a tough game, but we're looking forward to it. We'll prepare as best as we can. But as I said, we'll stay in our reality, and we'll make sure that we fix our mistakes that we need to fix for the following weekend. When it comes to Eben, I think Eben is a very respected man, respected in this team, wherever he goes, off the field and on the field. He's a big family man. But I mean, if you go talk to Eben about the Springbok environment, it's a place where he loves being. He's given so much to the environment. He's given so much to the sport, and to see him reach this milestone that's going to reach in his career, it's pretty amazing. I mean. Myself, Sia, France, a couple of us who played with each other, against each other from junior level rugby, and seeing how we've all grown, developed throughout the whole years. And I mean, seeing someone like Eben, whom you know very well, achieve this milestone is really awesome. Awesome for him, but I mean for us as players, we know how special it is, how special we're gonna have to make it for him. So it's gonna be an awesome weekend.
Rassi, obviously Argentina have had their best rugby championship this season.
Yes.
Is there anything different about them under Felipe Contemporaneous that you can pick up?
Yeah, definitely. I'll get to Filippo. But I think people also forget that people say we won the rugby championships in 2019, but that was like a shortened version. It was only a single round. So I think this will be, if we manage to do it on Saturday, only the fourth time in history. I think it was 1998 when I was a player who won it once, and I think in 2004 and 2009. So it's actually been a couple of years, 2009, since we actually won the full Tri-Nations Rugby Championship. So that will be fitting for Eben just to add, that will will be a nice takeaway for him, because I think that's one of the things he might not have achieved in his career, and which he can also maybe do on Saturday. Yeah, but then there's Argentinian team standing in our way, exactly like you say. And Filippo is a guy who travelled all over the world now. I played against him a lot. He coached at Leinster for years, so he's got all the experience of different cultures and playing styles, but he's managed to bring that within to the Argentinian team, and their discipline, which was always a little bit issue. I mean, we were the team that got the yellow card on Saturday. They didn't get a card at all. They were penalised in the beginning a bit, but definitely the discipline is much better, and there's certainly a lot of speed in that team, and he's really utilising that really, really well.
Rossi, obviously you said they scored all their points in 17 minutes.
Yeah.
In that time, was it a defensive lapse, or was it a system lapse, or was it an individual? Now that you guys have watched the game again?
Yeah, the one was just a great move from them, which was really well planned. The other one was 2 individual tackles that was missed. So when you're a man short against a speedy, they're all sevens players. They all come through the seven system, and all of them are quick and agile. We didn't get into a grind with the scrums and the mauls. It didn't really happen for us. It was really hot there, and the game got loose for those 15, 17 minutes. And the second half, we managed to tighten it up, and as you could see, we almost grinded it back with the last minute or so when we almost scored a try. Even if I think the try was easier to score than the penalty was to kick, So was a defensive lapse, but also individuals who missed tackles.
Rossi, when Argentina joined the Rugby Championship way back when, at that time they were much like, as people used to say, the old French side. You never know what side you're going to get on the day.
Yeah.
Is it encouraging for you to see how world rugby as a whole has developed to the point where countries like Argentina are more regularly competitive and more consistent at such a high level, to the point where they can now be among the top 2 in the Rugby Championship compared to where they started?
Yeah, we've got a hell of a lot of respect for them. Not for what they're achieving currently and always has. Augustine Pichot was a good friend of mine, and we're regularly in contact. And he said on Saturday, my rugby win before the game. But what he's personally done and what Argentina has done for the game is amazing. And to think that their players are playing all over the world and they get them together and they still perform like this to beat all 3 southern countries by. All of them, it's only us that got a log point out of one of the games. Obviously, they lost the other games. But I think it's nice to have countries like that who makes it, Sometimes you put them down and they don't get opportunities, but they just find a way to climb up again. And we see ourselves sometimes who are also in that boat, and we also manage to get out.
So Russell, sometimes I have to ask those heavy loaded questions.
No.
South Africans, 64 million people are celebrating Heritage Day today. Obviously, you guys have a very short week. You guys have to focus on rugby at the moment. But what does it mean for you guys as South Africans, as individuals, as human beings? How do you guys celebrate, and what does it mean for the Springboks?
Yeah, I think everybody's different. Pongi is different than me, and Piper and I'm different. And there's some guys who's different religions and with different backgrounds and cultures. So I guess everybody's got their own way, and I think that's what makes South Africa special. We certainly in the Springbok team have a certain culture how we like to run things, and it comes very natural to the players because it's been installed over 6-7 years or over many years. But I mean, it does change with ebbs and flows as different coaches and management team or players comes in. But with this specific bunch of players, I do think the players really carry themselves well and try to be what the best they can do to make this country better. And obviously their own cultures, they will support and be happy in who they are and what they are, and to be South African.
Rossi, for Felipe and Argentina to win, they need to deny you guys a bonus point, and they need to score 3 more tries than you. And obviously their mindset going into that game is going to be to score tries and try and put up as many points as possible. That can be a good thing and a bad thing from both sides. Just how do you approach a game like that, knowing the opposition will want to score so many tries against you?
Yeah, we were 2 years ago. We were in a position when Australia just sort of kicked the ball out against New Zealand, and the referee said it was time wasting, and then we had to score 46 points versus Argentina to win the rugby championships in Durban, and we worked out that we had to score every 14 minutes a try, and we scored the first try, and the referee didn't give it. So they'll definitely have a plan, and the plan will be to run us off our feet, So, but our plan is to win. Our plan is we lost one game in the rugby championship by 1 point, and we've now got an opportunity at home. None of these guys have held a rugby championship cup of a full rugby championship, so we are going out to win, not to try and stop them. We're trying to win.
Babes, all this talk about yellow cards and Argentina not even having one with Lavanini in the squad.
That's
Are you getting worried that Russia's looking at whether their laws apply to
Yeah, I'm in trouble, am I not? No, obviously they do something right, and they've changed a few habits, but sometimes when you're under pressure, some of those things happen, and like Russell mentioned, the flow of the ebb and flows of the game. If there's momentum against you, sometimes those cards come easier because players are under more pressure, and you give meters, and then the same infringement look worse. We're certainly not a team that's trying to not give away any penalties, because if you don't, it means you don't take part in the game. So if you actually contest the game, you can be as accurate as you want, but you're still going to concede penalties if you engage in the contest. But yeah, for us, we've looked at a few things after the last two games, especially in the breakdown, tacklers getting out. And if we can service that better this week, we probably concede a couple less penalties.
Looking forward, and you have thought about it, tour of the Northern Hemisphere, would the focus be on developing depth or retaining the number one spot?
Yeah, we would like to retain the number one spot, but we've certainly created depth so far whilst being in the rugby championships and versus Wales and Portugal. I think we kept 11 players in Cape Town, new players that's only played this year for South Africa the first time. So, and there's also guys like Hendrik who got a chance this weekend, who showed us he can play hooker and prop, that answers some questions. A guy like, there's so many guys. I mean, Ruan Nortje wasn't even in our mix in the beginning. If you took a look at our succession planning and the way he grabbed his opportunity, he was probably fifth rank of the 5 locks, if I must be honest. And then with Floyd going down, and then Erge going down, and then Franco going down, and then who was the last guy? I can't even remember. So he was the 5th guy on the rock, and he just came in, slotted in, and took that position. He'll certainly make some mistakes, but he's a young guy. He can go to the next World Cup. You could see we had Grobisch, we gave him a chance. We gave Gerard as a young guy. We've got Damien Willemse who must come back. We've gave Sasha a good run. Mani is still a young man, relatively to World Cups, if you put it that way. We've got the 2 9s and Grant Williams and Jaden, Jasper Visre. We've got Elrich. We gave a chance. We gave Evan Roos a chance. So we're certainly not trying to create depth, but trying to stay on top will always be in the back of our heads.
Rassie,
Hey.
Hello. Afalele played a few tests now as well.
Yeah.
He's really playing good rugby. You must be happy with him coming through, taking the chance. Damien Willemse coming back, and then you have the experience of Billy also. You must be happy with those 3 guys at the
Yeah, it's team selection should be non-emotional, but you do start getting a good relationship with players, and you've gone through a lot of things together as a team. And a guy like Eben playing his 100th game in South Africa, it's great that we could manage that. It would have been great Willies on the 97 test matches, but he knows his job in the team. He definitely understands that Apolele is definitely firing really well for us now. He's taking his chance. The areas that we thought he struggled in previously, he's just really doing well there. It's not just a flashy part that he's doing well, he's also doing the grind part really well. And then he deserves his spot, So yeah, when Damien Willemse is back and Sasha is back and everybody is back for the end of year tour, it will be very interesting to see how we're going to manage what. But rather have that problem like when we had in 2019, we were scraping for players.
Bongi, the stadium is sold out for Saturday. It's the first time that a BOK Argentina game in South Africa has been sold out. Times are tough in South Africa, household budgets are tight. What does it mean to the team that 42,000 people are going to be at that stadium shouting for the BOKs and hoping that you feed off the energy?
Yeah, I think that is one of the most important thing that we as a team look forward to the weekend, especially playing in South Africa, playing in front of your own people, of your own country, wearing the Springbok jersey, and just playing your heart out and showing pride. Because I mean, they pay, as you said, it's a tight economy. People sacrifice time and money to make sure that they do have the tickets to come and watch the BOKs. And I mean, throughout the whole years, that has always been our mission to fill up the stadiums in every place in South Africa. You know, from past experiences, we've been to dark times where people didn't even want to wear the Springbok jersey. And I mean, now the Springbok jersey are sold out everywhere you go. So I mean, that's really something we've worked hard for, and really something remarkable for this team, and not just for the team. I mean, for everyone else who has young kids, who has a family, who has other relatives that look up to them. You know, it's always nice to see the support, especially after the game. Also, when the families are allowed to come and join us as a team, win or lose, we're always together, meeting the other players' families. So yeah, it's really is important to this team, and also sometimes it does get emotional. But yeah, we learn to control our emotions, and we just make it personal between those 4 lines.
Can I add to that, Percy? Just when we left Argentina, obviously we lost. We had to quickly shower, do the media press conference, get in the bus. It was like a 3-hour bus ride. Got to the airport, then we had to get onto the plane with Argentina. Then they sit on the one side of the plane, and we sit on the other side of the plane. And obviously you feel really dejected and a little bit negative. You're a bit sad because you lost, and you're reviewing the game and everything. And I think it was a 12-hour flight that we had straight from there to right here. But when we landed here, and I don't know what time it was, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, but I don't know how many people there were at the stadium. But the lift that gives you when you've just experienced that crowd on that side, and how it lifted them, and you think, yeah, okay, we're back in Africa, you know. As we land and the people stand there and you see some familiar faces, and yeah, it's very nice. Jimmy Stonehouse was at the training today. You're back to normality, and it makes a hell of a difference.
Sorry, I was just asking a question. My colleague asked you about retaining the top spot. Reality is you guys are not on top of the log anymore. Second place at the moment. Does that mean anything to the Springboks?
It only means at the end of 25 when they select the World Cup pool draw. So doesn't matter now. It's just bragging rights now for whoever's on top at the end of 2025. It really counts for the draw of the pools.
Last English question over there.
Yeah, sorry for Bongi. You and Evan have obviously come a long way together. Suffered many losses and enjoyed many victories together. Him now becoming the most capped Springbok of all time, obviously, it shows that he really is what it takes to be a Springbok. Of all your memories together, is there anything specifically that stands out to you when you realized this guy is really special and he's going to be a special Springbok someday? Anything that stands out?
Yes, yeah, it's been a long journey together. A lot of memories created, good and bad. But yeah, for me, Evan is always his character. I mean, always in the change room, always be the guy who. I mean, a lot of people who don't know Evan think Evan is always the serious guy, but he's actually one of the jokers in the team. And yeah, actually just maybe loosens the mood up in the team. Probably when there's too much tense in the team, he's probably the guy who will loosen it up a bit. But also when it's time to get serious, he's the guy who knuckles down and makes things very serious and very personal. So I think what I learned from him is just to have a balance between the two. You can't just always be rugby or family. I mean, unfortunately, or the way you look at it, unfortunately or fortunately, we're in this position where we have to get a balance as soon as possible as you can to make it work both sides. Because sometimes you give so much to the rugby environment and your family sort of suffers. You give so much to your family and so your career suffers. So I think Evan is the guy who's gotten a balance onto that, and I think for me stands out to the kind of man and character that he is. And yeah, there's all other memories I can share off, but I don't think it's for the mics.
As jy kyk na die scrums verlede week, die BOK was baie oorheersend. Na wat in Australië gebeur het, en as jy Argentinië is en jy moet weer dit face, het jy enige tendense of is daar enige bekommernisse dat daar miskien so 'n loophole weer sal gebruik word?
Ek dink die Argentyne is kompeterend en die manier, soos Ras gesê het, Felipe met hulle werk is dit in hulle natuur om ook kompeterend te bly. So nee, hulle sal skram, hulle sal beter wees die week. Ek Donald werk hard met ons en ons gaan dalk ook beter wees. Maar ja, die low trials wat nou in die oomblik in die gang is, werk regtig goed. Daar's goeie returns op data. Maar die een plek waar op die oomblik bietjie onder baie werkswinkel gestig daarvoor is om seker te maak mens kan vandag 'n loophole kry om aan contested scrums te kom sonder om 'n speler te verloor. Dit beteken jy moet die HII-prosedure, die kopkontak-prosedure misbruik as jy daar om wil kom as jy nie werklike besering het nie. Maar ek glo die Argentyne is heeltemal te kompeterend. Hulle sal nie in daai omgewing ingaan nie.
Die laaf was nie blasé oor die bokke wat hier kom speel nie. Maak dit 'n verskil aan julle, die gees as jy wil, en kan jy sê of op matchday, en sover hoegenaamd is daar 'n verskil teenoor 2 jaar terug, die All Blacks hier was, dit is nou skoolvakansie, dis een ding, maar is omrela vir julle spesiaal?
Ja, ek het hom nog nie ervaar as 'n coach. Ek was geban toe ons laas jaar hier gespeel het nog. So ek was by die oefeninge en so aan. So ek was nie self by die veld gewees nie. Maar nee, ek voel definitief. Ek sal nooit vergeet ons die eerste toets toe gebring het, die All Black toets. Dit was nogal 'n taamlike interessante gesprekke, want ons het voorgestel ons wil 'n toets toe bring, 'n groot toets en dan 'n afspraak toe bring, om Bella toe bring en dit was toe nou die All Blacks gewees en ek onthou as mense wat gesê het, maar hoe gaan mense so ver ry om die rakveld vol te kom maak en die paviljoene vol te maak, en ons het amper geen twyfel gehad dat mense amper die local mense sal obviously kom, maar familie sal ook eintlik beplan rondom dit, want obviously is hier soveel mooi goed en lekker goed om rondom te doen, so ons het nooit geen twyfel gehad nie, maar die manne vertel my, die atmosfeer was ongelooflik geweest daar, so en ek moes dit uit die hotelkamer kyk, so ek sien baie uit na Saterdag.
Ja, as jy kort is praat met ons oor die samestelling van jou span spesifiek, op die posisie op losskakel, hoekom het jy volstaan met op gaan met Manny Libok op losskakel, ondanks al die kritiek wat probeer geloop word na die naweekswedstryd in Santiago?
Ja, presies, Manny mense verstaan dat hy baie kritiek kry, hy verstaan dit self almal, ons almal, al coaches, spelers, hakkers, referees, almal het al deurgeloop deur, as jy 'n fout maak en mense dink dis alles al net jou skuld. Ons is 'n span sien bietjie dieper daarin, jy weet, ons dink, daar was 2 tries voor hy skop van Manny, wat ons baie maklik nog gedruk het, wat makliker was as die skop van Manny. So, Manny word gekies nie net om Paul te skop en daarom het ons planne rondom dit gemaak, wat hopelik Saterdag sal werk, en die manier hoe hy speel, is definitief 'n manier wat ons dink kan die Argentyne op 'n level match wat hulle probeer speel, en Manny is 'n ouetjie wat al deur baie diep waters is, daai 1 of 2 memes of grappies of kritiek wat die mense teen hom het, jy weet, sy realiteit is wanneer hy tussen ons is, ons verstaan 100% hoekom die mense so voel, en dis ons werk om dit reg te kry, om hom te help, en ons is besig om dit te doen, en hy sal weer op die perd klim en ry.
Is jou raad of sy boodskap aan hom om die mense die doelprofeet verkeerd te gaan bewys
Ja, jy weet, is maar, ons almal kan hy kort pads inpad, as niemand kyk agter in die jaar, dis dit maklik, en dan gaan staan jy daar op die green vir die laaste ene, en dan bewe jy net so. So, dis maar 'n ding wat met die tyd nou kom, en of my werklik sê, nog nooit het Manny 'n beker vir ons erns verloor nie. Jy weet, ons het nie die World Cup verloor as gevolg van Manny nie. Ons het nie die, wat sy ander beker nou gewen het, dit is nie verloor as gevolg van Manny. Ons het nog nie 'n beker verloor as gevolg van Manny nie. Ons het nog altyd rondom dit gewerk, en as dit daarby uitkom dat dit nou regtig so 'n krisis is, wat hy vir ons bring in natural game, en kyk wat het in Skotland gedoen, ek bedoel, ons was bietjie, die game was in 'n real tight situasie gewees, en hier gaan hy met 'n no-look kickie, en hy skop hom reg vir die winger, en ons gaan skoor. Jy weet, maar daai is baie moeiliker, dink ek, as die skop pale toe. So, nee, ons werk rondom dit, en ons het sy talent op die veld nodig Saterdag.
Rassie, ons het nou by Bongie gehoor van wat even vir hom laat uitstaan het ook, of jou as afrigter, met hom wat nou 'n groot leier figuur in die span is. Nou van natuur staan hy kop en skouers bo almal, maar nou figuurlik, wat sal hom nou kop en skouers vir jou laat uitstaan as nou die beste springer?
Seker maar sy voete en goed, nee, hy Ek het ewen geteken toe ek by die WP gekom het, toe die eerste 4 ouens wat ons of nie ek nie, die WP, was Eben en Kitsie en Sia en daai bands het saam deurgekom, daai groep het saam deurgekom. En ek sal nooit vergeet, hy het nie 'n agent gehad, hy het aangekom en jy het 'n sekere bedrag gekry as jy net as 'n junior speel en dan as jy super rugby speel, dan gaan jy bedrag op. En toe sê hy, maar wat is hy super rugby bedrag? Toe sê ek, hoekom? Toe sê hy, nee, want hy dink hy gaan al super rugby speel. So ek is ook in die ou se kop is reg in sy skouers. En hy het obviously nie, want jy kan nie op 18, 19 reg super rugby speel nie. Kitsie het wel daai jaar super rugby gespeel, op 'n baie jong ouderdom. Maar Eben is altyd een van die competitive stones wat jy kry. As jy, ek wen hom met darts en so, of hy wen my, dan skuld ons mekaar sê net maar R200. Dan of ek met die coaches of nie, dan bel hy my 2 maande terug en sê jy het nog nie daai R200 betaal nie. Dit so hy's baie competitive ou. Waar nie of hy die coach bel en sê ek skuld my nog R200 nie. En daarmee bedoel ek nie hy's stingy nie. Hy's net 'n baie competitive ou. Jy weet, hy hou nie van verloor nie. Hy hou nie van as ons span nie op die regte mindset is nie. Hy hou nie van as die mense dink ons try nie op ons hardste nie. Bongie en daai ouens ons en is baie van die ouens wat hier gelos was is nogal ouens wat daai tipe ons wil dit teruggee Saterdag en ons wil dit graag vir Eben ook doen Saterdag.
Die reek van braaivleis hang hier oor die Springbok hotel meneer. Springbokke braaivleis sinoniem met erfenisdag. Wat beteken dit vir julle?
Ja, vir ons is erfenisdag fiks, soos ek net gesê vir Bongie myself en vir Pypie is seker vir elkeen bietjie anders. Ek weet net die een ding in ons Springbokspan dat ons een kultuur en dit is dat ons almal aanvaar soos ons is. Waarin jy glo of jy gelowig is of nie en waar en vir wie jy bid of wat se kleur jy is of wat se taal jy praat, maak nie saak hier in ons Suid-Afrika en ons wil net almal Suid-Afrika beter dan maak met ons eie tradisies en eie menswees en ek dink dis maar die beste wat ons kan doen, maar dit is sekerlik 'n lekker groep ouens om saam te wees om so 'n spesiale dag te vier.
Awesome, thank you guys. Een vraag, Rassie gaan Sia volgende week vir sy operasie?
Ja.
En dan hoe lank is hy uit?
Ek dink is 2 weke. Dit is nie 'n lang ding. Ja. Ekskuus moet dit oor en gaan maar dit. Okay, dankie.
Those of you who watch the channel regularly will know I normally give my take after the team announcement, and I did so outside the BOK Hotel there in the blistering sun. It was 38 degrees. It's really warm here in Nelspruit, so I got out there and did did the work. So have a listen. This is my take on the BOK team, and this is literally half an hour after the press conference. Hey guys, just here outside the Springbok Hotel at the moment here in Mbombela, Nelspruit. Sorry, the sun's a bit in the eyes, but we've just had the team announcement, had Rossi Erasmus up, Bongi Mbonambi and Jaco Paper. That video is somewhere on the channel, so just go have a look on the channel. You'll see it there for the full 30-minute press conference as well. But I just thought I'd do a quick reaction piece on the Springbok team that was named. Quite an interesting one. Of course, many of the players that were left in South Africa, we knew they were going to come back into the team. We knew the Boks were going to make changes, and not surprising that they did. I think the big question over there, the big news, is Mani Libbok at fly off, and Rassie backing Mani. Now on Saturday night, after Mani missed that kick at goal, there was obviously a lot of outrage, a lot of people in the comments, a lot of reaction to Gavin and my chat on Sunday, where we said Mani won't be thrown away, and a lot of people obviously quite upset about Mani's kicking, but Mani's general play has always been good. The kicking has been the one Achilles heel that he has. So by Rassie going out and picking him at fly-off, he's certainly sent a message. He's doubled down in his support for Mani, and you can only expect that from any coach in his own players. I mean, once you start throwing away players, you lose the confidence of the team, and this team has shown they all back players to the hilt, this management team, and that's nothing wrong with that. But Mani's now going to go out in front of quite a hostile home crowd and under a lot of pressure this weekend against Argentina. Of course, the Rugby Championship's on the line. There's several permutations. Argentina can still steal the Rugby Championship from the Springboks, but in all likelihood, the Boks are going to probably win the Rugby Championship this weekend. Now, so I think Rassie's gamble is to say, well, look, Mani, you've got it here. Here's another chance, a chance in front of a home crowd. Do your magic and come out on top.
Moni's a very resilient guy. He's fought his way to the top. He's been written off so many times before, and I know a lot of people are probably still writing him off right now, but he's a much better character than people give him credit for. He's a fighter. He really is somebody who won't give up very easily. And I think we're going to see that this weekend. But doubling down, the Boks have sort of given them some insurance. They've gone with the 5-3 bench with Andre Pollard as the backup flyer from the bench, pretty much like they did in the World Cup. So they've got the insurance that Andre can come on if needed and play if Mani does miss a bunch of kicks. And Rossi made the telling point in the press conference that they would be looking to have some insurance about how they're going to do the kicking. I can only think that probably means somebody like Cheslin Colby might be kicking. Jaden Hendricks has also started. He's also kicked a lot as well in his career. So one of them might take the kicking duties. And I think Mani's probably a better player when you take the kicking duties away from him. But it's going to be a warm day. It's going to be a packed stadium. And my worry, of course, is quite simple, is that if Mani misses his first kick and the crowd get into him, that this might be a long afternoon for him. I'm hoping that I think Rassi and them have earned the trust of the country. They know what they're doing. They've won 2 World Cups. They know backing a player he'll come right. So I can only believe that's their plan. And you might not agree with it, and fair enough. You don't have to agree with all the selections that the coaches make, but certainly he's doubled down and he's backed Mani. So that's the first thing that comes out of this team announcement. The second one is obviously he's partnering with Jaden. I think we're going to see Jaden take a lot of the tactical kicking duties as well. He's got a very good foot from the base of the ruck, and he's probably going to take some pressure off Mani there. So that has been part of what they've wanted to do as well. So I can see Mani being left to play his attacking game. The Argentinians, if you look at the permutations, South Africa will win the rugby championship unless Argentina deny them a bonus point or deny them any sort of points out of the game and score a bonus point for 3 more tries than South Africa themselves. That's quite a big task in any game, but playing away from home in front of a partisan crowd, you're going to have to really put the hammer down, and there's not many teams that can do that. They're going to have to seriously put on probably one of their best performances ever to do that. It's easier said than done. Of course, the stakes are very high, and anything can happen in professional sport. But I would say the odds still favour the Springboks to win that. I don't see Argentina doing that because it's such a high bar to clear that I think the Boks will still keep it. And if the Boks decide to play it tight. So I think it's a tall task for the Pumas. They are a very good side, and we shouldn't say that it's impossible because it is very possible for them to do it. It's improbable probably, but they are a good team and they have upset a lot of teams. And if they get the wind at their backs and the Boks heads fall, I can't see this Bok team losing like that though. I would be very surprised, and I think there would be deeper problems if they did. But saying that was the big Mani was the big question. Obviously, in the thing. The other thing, which is the obvious positive headline, is Evan Etzebeth becomes the most capped Springbok on Saturday. We're playing his 128th Test match. He'll have passed Victor Matfield and certainly gets a lot of praise from his teammates. I must admit, all the years I've dealt with Evan, constant gentleman, far away from his persona on the field, and people who actually get to know him think he's quite a joker and quite a nice guy away from the crowds. Sorry guys, I had to move there. The sun was just getting in my eyes the whole time. My eyes are burning with the sun. The sun is quite low on the horizon, it's straight in my eyes. So I just moved a bit there. So Evan is certainly one of the guys who is seen very differently by the public and for his rugby persona than he is by his teammates and those who deal with him. He's a fabulous character and really one of the stalwarts of South African rugby, one of the legends. And I'm really glad for him. It's going to be a huge day for him and his family. So we're going to obviously be a celebration. The other changes, of course, Cheslin Colby back on the wing. We expected that. Damien Delenda back at centre. Jaden coming in to start as well. Kobus Reinach dropping to the bench at 9. Mani at 10 is another change as well. Then you have the return of Siya Kolisi leading the side. He playing with a broken nose. He's going to go for the op in a week's time. and then obviously Peter Steph du Toit, the guy who just doesn't know when to stop. On the other side of the scrum as well. At lock, even obviously the one four lock, Ron Kick keeps his spot, and he's really grown. And he's been. I know there were some problems in the lineouts last week, but the Boks have been backing him as well as a five lock. They don't have too many options, to be fair, at five lock at the moment. But he is certainly. He started the season. He wasn't even in the mix as one of the squad members, but he's really sort of stood up and really, and he also is a workhorse. He puts in his tackles, he does so much work off the ball for the guys that he's really an asset in terms of that. Frans Malherbe, Bud Spencer comes back with Bongi and Bonambi, with Ox, probably the strongest front row that they have at the moment. There's a whole bunch of World Cup winners in the squad. And then interestingly, not going with the bomb squad at the back, going with a 5-3 split with a full front row and Vincent Koch, and Malcolm Marks, Gerard Steenekamp as the front row to come on. Very good front row as well to come on. And then no lock backup. Elric Lowe will be the lock backup if they need. I could think if that probably happens, Peter Steph du Toit will move to lock, and then you've got Kwagga Smith in his regular role off the bench for the Boks as well. At 9, Kobus Reinach is the 9, but the speed, lots of experience there coming onto the field. Andre Pollard's obviously, everybody knows Andre, knows what to expect from him. And then the other backline players, the Kanyo who's playing more and more a role in as a sort of utility back for the Springboks, playing 12 and 13, and he can pitch up on the wing if he needs to be. So lots of experience in the Bok team. They feel they've got enough there to go for the jugular and win this game, end off the rugby championship in style. I did put it to Russie in the press conference, and you can watch it as well. What happens, Argentina can obviously come run at you because they're going to come to score 3 more tries than you. And he said, look, we're not here to stop them, we're here to win. And that's the attitude of the Springboks at the moment. So there you have it. That's the Bok team for today. It's a very good team, and the weather here is now turned in Nelspruit. It's about 30 degrees already. This is a different type of heat. Anybody who's been to the Lowveld will know the type of heat. Expecting 31 degrees on Saturday at kickoff. That should be wonderful. It's going to be a great week for shorts, and today obviously being a public holiday in South Africa, Heritage Day, a bunch of braais are going to be happening as well. So a lot of people around enjoying their public holiday today. It's a work day for us. It's a work day for the Boks, and but when you're doing rugby, every work day is a wonderful one. I'll be back later in the week as well. I'll be with Gavin again. We'll be doing our preview on Thursday. He's on the road from Cape Town, driving up at the moment, and then we'll be at the game and do a review after the game as well. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think of Russie backing Mani? Is it the right move? Do you think Mani still has a role to play? I certainly think he's got more than a role that a lot of people think he has. And I just want to put this scenario to you: is that maybe next year, Andre Pollard has been injured quite a lot. Sasha Feinberg and Mngomezulu is injured at the moment. And so we could have a situation next year or going to the World Cup where both of them are injured and there's not a third for life. Of course, there are other options. Masuku at the Sharks, Jordan Hendricks at the Sharks, and there's a couple of other players coming through as well. The Boks do have options. But if you think that, and I think people should also realize this, there are about 30 tests to the next World Cup, 35 odd tests to the next World Cup. There's not much time to blood players. There's not much time to bring players through. The Boks have made their choices. Mani is part of their squad, and so they're going to back him because you never know when you're going to need him. And I think it's a good thing because we should. My personal view is we shouldn't be throwing players away in South Africa, no matter how good they can all play a role. Work on their shortcomings, get them right, and because Mani has won games with his boot as well. Just think for the Stormers against Ulster and La Rochelle, 2 big kicks he put in at the end there. So anyway, that's my view on the Bok team. Let me know what you think about Mani, what do you think about Eben's record-breaking feat, and what do you think about all the other changes. And if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button. It's now Heritage Day. I'm going to go off and have a braai and quite enjoy my Heritage Day and do a bit of work while I'm braaiing as well. But have a good day and keep watching the channel. There'll be more of these videos. Cheers.
And then we moved on to Wednesday, which was just as hot, 38 degrees again. The heat really caught us. We went down to the Springbok training session. You can excuse the sound in this. Something with my phone overheated because it was on the tripod. And after a while, it was so warm that the phone said it's too hot. So I think that affected the sound a bit. Not the greatest sound. So I apologize for this sound in this clip. But it's the background sound. So maybe just turn down the sound if you need to. But this was the box training session. Of course, those of you who know, we're only allowed to really take the warm-ups. After 15 minutes, they chase us away so they can do their training in private. I understand that, and yeah, that's fair enough. So we did that, and then of course we went off to the Argentinian training after that. So I'm going to put back to back the box and the Argentinians. When we got there, they were basically finished with training, so they obviously didn't want us to see. And it was just really the kickers carrying on. So first the box training, and then the Argentinian kickers. Will be the next two clips that you'll watch, and then we'll move on from there with some of the interviews with some of the Argentinian players.
Niks oor geskryf en op baie land.
Ja, dit is lekker. Dis real. Okay, bye-bye.
Yes, so if you put the love now.
Ouderdom.
So ek het Hendrik gesê om vir jou die vraag. So druk gebruik.
No.
Was jy van Sparks? Is jy vir die boek?
Ik heb al in.
Ek sê, yep, om, nie worry.
Om tellen.
Om.
Waar gaan het om?
Oor nie.
Ja, ja, ja. Ja. Oh, nu mag ik over.
Een beetje schuif.
I stopped it before. Ja. Hello. Yes.
We zien het next.
Just no. Wait, I'll come in now. I'll ask you.
I'll put them out to break down.
I give that.
I got you.
Nee, oké.
Guys, I like 3 Let's see.
Maria.
Robo una más de la que quedaba. No, vamos ahora.
Your money. No. So that's a company money. So the UK guys are I was shocked. We don't say that. You got a choice to delete it. Of course I delete it. Oh my God.
Saturday is going to be not full.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to this focus as well.
Get out yet. He's right on.
Vintage was. Yeah. No. Yeah, what has a ball strike? Yeah. Oh, distance one. No, forget the distance. Yeah. Okay, well, what has ball strike like? Yeah? I wouldn't have a two. What about that? What? Tuesday? I mean, different than like penalty. So he doesn't even kick the penalty.
So tomorrow is the done time.
Santiago. Sí, Santiago.
Good kick.
Push on.
Pressure's on now.
That's why we're here. You guys can add a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Can we start booing? We're not going to be able to stop the crowd.
$1,000 on this. There we go. Check it. Relief.
Es un verdadero placer. Cuando nosotros entrenamiento rutina de patada de los palos y con muchísimas expectativas, la verdad, porque luego de un rugby championship que ganaron a Nueva Zelanda, a Australia, a Sudáfrica. Este sábado frente a los que se consagrarán los campeones del mundo, otros resultados o que Sudáfrica, como recién le decía, algún punto bonus, vamos a ganar a los locales. Y por el lado del juego, obviamente la expectativa quedó muy alta con la performance argentina en Santiago del Estero, basándose en una defensa espectacular, el campeón del mundo ataca y que desafía en un montón de aspectos, y después también una versión de ataque muy sólida, muchísimas herramientas, demostrando que la estrategia de Felipe Botocomi y de su staff realmente funcionó, porque nos hablaban de la previa de tratar de mover a Sudáfrica de un lado para el otro. Realmente lo que imaginaron de como bien decías vos, la coronación del Rugby Championship, bueno, todos estos jugadores regresan para el duelo del sábado aquí en Nelspruit, donde las localidades están agotadas y donde desde el juego, si los Pumas tuvieron un muy buen partido en Santiago, pero bueno, tendrán que hacer uno muchísimo mejor aquí en condición de visitante, porque Sudáfrica lo va a ir en absolutamente.
I got a chance to chat to some of Argentina's players. Just going to give you two clips here. The first one comes from Juan Martin Gonzalez, who of course is the very highly rated flanker. He plays for Saracens in England. He came along first. Apologized for his English, but what a great guy! Really enjoyed chatting to the media. We enjoyed chatting to him. And then they've got a New Zealander who played with Tony Brown, Kenny Lynn. By the look of him, I haven't bumped into him before. But by the look of him, it looks like he was a scrum off. So He's now been with the Argentina. He runs the attack, and he's done pretty well, I think most people would say this year. So straight after that, it's Kenny Lynn chatting about his thoughts about the game as well, and have a watch.
It's not the best, so
don't worry.
You want to try
My
the
Spanish
best.
is not the best either, so-
We appreciate that you try.
Okay, thanks very much. I can help, but my English also is. I'm learning also. Oh yeah, English isn't that.
Can you towards your face here?
Towards me.
Yes.
Can you come this side?
This side. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's better.
We are ready to go, my friend.
Yes.
Guys, we can't see. She can't see anything.
Wait. We must make sure everyone's got a perfect spot.
You want to come in between me or there?
That's why I can use this hand. I'm gonna try. It's my left hand, but I'm gonna try.
Okay,
You've got a
maybe
snake.
okay, so-
Can't just give us a sound, check your name, your surname, and your title, and the position you play in the team.
Okay, I'm Gonzalez. I'm flanker.
Guys, happy with the sound?
Can we start, please? We need to go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
let's go.
Let's go.
Just briefly, you guys had a very good performance this past weekend, beating the Springboks. Can you guys do it again this weekend here in Mandela?
Yeah, we have a good game, but yeah, we are thinking about next game. We want to be consistency. We are looking for consistency. So yeah, of course we want to win every single game, but what we are looking now is to play good rugby. And I think that in sometimes we are doing that, and in other times no. So what we are looking is to be consistency.
You guys managed to beat Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa so far. What is needed from Argentina to get a double over South Africa this weekend?
Like I said before, to be consistency in every single aspect of the game. So yeah, that is what we are looking and training.
Juan, how much of a loss is Marcos for you guys, not having him here?
Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's a good leader here in the team. And of course, his performance during the last time is amazing. So yeah, we're sad because he's injured now, but we keep going.
You guys always seem to have a slow start, but you play your best rugby when you're behind. Is that because you've got nothing to lose?
Yeah, look, we're like when we play game per game, you know. We just think our next game. So I think that is our yeah, our strength.
And then you've got a lot of sevens players in the setup, and it seems to come across when the game is pretty loose. Has that helped having a lot of sevens players, obviously in the 15 setup now?
Yeah, they help us a lot. They have good skills, and that is good for us and for the game that we want to play. So they are really helpful.
Can I ask you, do you guys have belief that you guys can do it here in South Africa against the Springbok side who've got new players of Saturday's?
Yeah, of course. If not, we weren't here, you know. We play the game. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose, but we want to play a good rugby.
One, you guys have Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand in the same season, which you haven't done before. Why do you think that is? What explanation for it?
I said before, because what we are looking is consistency in training and in the games, and that's what we're doing before. Like, we have been training very good. Sometimes we play very good, sometimes no. But yeah, that is what I'm looking for, like be consistency game.
If I ask you about the new coach, Felipe, what's the main difference that he's brought in terms of his approach?
Yeah, that he said to us that we have to play ourselves, and very good for.
Can I ask you, obviously you guys would want to focus on yourself and your own game. The South Africa brought back some of the most experienced players. What does that mean to you guys as Argentina then?
Oh, look, we know that they have won the world champion, so they are a good team. But I think they don't take too much to us because they have amazing players, and we're to our like to play well. So yeah, they have big names there, but we're looking like inside us.
Juan, 2015 was the only time Argentina's won here in South Africa. I think you're part of that team. Just have you guys spoken about 15? What happened there? What you need to do there? Has it come up at all in conversation?
No, we haven't talked about that.
What will you mean with the people from South America, from Argentina, if you guys manage to secure a victory against South Africa for your fans?
I think that they are going to be like happy because But to be honest, we are thinking about this moment. We are not thinking what happened after the league. So of course I will be very happy because we have never won rugby championship. So of course it's going to be crazy.
A strange question. You guys haven't conceded a yellow card, and I think have the penalties in the competition. Has there been a focus on discipline?
Yeah, of course that no one wants to make a penalty, and we respect a lot of that. So yeah, something that we think a lot and take care.
Thank you very much.
Can you introduce yourself and just tell us a bit about yourself? How long have you been with the team and your background?
Yeah, sure. My name's Kendrick Lynn. I joined the Pumas at the start of the season, so just before the French series. I'm from New Zealand, and I coached for 8 years in France. That's where I was before I joined the Highlanders last year, and then joined the Pumas this year.
Do you specialize in as a kicking coach?
No, I coach the backs and also the attack with Felipe.
He's going to ask 100 questions.
No, you don't be like that.
That's fine, it's sunny.
Coach, can I just ask you, last weekend was a good performance for the Pumas. Can you guys back it up this time on home soil, on South African home soil?
Well, yeah, that's going to be the big test for us. We were really happy with how it went last week. We understand at the same time what's awaiting us on Saturday. There's a lot on the line. There's a rugby championship on the line. We've been happy with how we've been going, but we know that to get the kind of performance that we want, we need to step it up again. So look, I fully back these guys. They're great guys to coach. They're really excited about what lies ahead. So can we do it? Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday evening.
You got the result, but the scrum was obviously the one area you guys will want to improve on. What's your plan looking at that?
Might be better to speak to Andreas, our scrum coach. I just work on the launches after that. Look, I think he's got a plan. I think on our own ball it was solid, and if we can match them, we understand that that's a huge strength of South Africa, and they're always going to be going like that. It's one of the ways the Springboks get into the game, using their scrum. So look, we're really looking to counter it as best we can.
Your first game against the All Blacks, the next week, you guys failed to back that up. Juan talked about consistency. That's obviously a big talking point in the team this week.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's part of the growth of this team. Now we've got some really good belief in what we're capable of doing, but everything we talk about is always about just performance, not result. We just want to see the guys back it up in terms of how we play, how we move on the field, our attitudes, our performance. Like, keep growing the belief, keep being brave. That's the most important thing for us. We see that, we'll be happy. The result, that's the next part.
Say that there is a permutation that you deny South Africa a bonus point when you can win the rugby championship by getting a bonus point. Then.
For sure.
How much does that come into play, or is it just keep by the game plan?
Look, for us, we don't really speak about that. I think with the way we play, if we can win enough ball, we're going to give ourselves a chance to score tries. It's just going to be a matter of, can we start well? Can we be accurate at the start? We've been giving teams 17-point leads the last two games. We can't afford to do that against South Africa. If we give ourselves a chance at the start being accurate, we get enough ball to challenge the defence of South Africa, then we're going to have a chance. And if we can perform, then maybe we can be getting those tries. But we just take it step by step at the start before thinking about the possible bonus or the win.
How do you guys you've got players playing all around the world. You look at Chacobares, Senti, the Benetton group. You know, how do you get all the ideas, you put them together to make it a perfect puzzle, or almost a perfect picture for Argentinian rugby?
Yeah, Felipe's been great like that. We've got a really clear DNA and a way of playing. And to be fair, when you look at the start of the season, it did take a couple of weeks for that to blend, because the guys have come from everywhere. Different competitions, different languages, different ways of seeing the game. But one thing, and I certainly felt it arriving fresh, is that the boys have so much passion for the jersey and their country. Like, you feel it when you talk to them and you get to know them more, and certainly for the games and the training. So I think you combine that with a clearer identity, and as well, Felipe's been working really well behind the scenes in terms of our values and who we are. and who we want to represent. So I think that's starting to come out in the field.
Can I ask you, this is a very professional environment, international environment. But can I ask you this question as a New Zealander? Is it not strange for you that New Zealand, for the first time, is not vying for the title, and it's Argentina, you helping coaching Argentina against a so-called final against South Africa?
Yeah, I think it's great, mate. Like, I mean, I couldn't be prouder being here with this group. They've welcomed me. You know, I'm immensely, like, I feel just huge gratitude that I had the chance. And if I can help them, grow them as a team and as people, and keep developing the way we play, and if that means that we're in the final instead of New Zealand, it's like that at the moment, because that's my role and it's great.
You've already mentioned clarity. What other things has Felipe brought to the group?
We speak a lot about being brave, being ourselves, playing free. So I think that's driven really hard from Felipe. We want the players to be decision makers. We want them to feel like they can have a go on the field if they're seeing the space. They're not boxed in by too many restrictive game plans. Like, we certainly know how we want to play, and we drive that hard. But I think it's that ability to be able to play eyes up, look in front of us, use what Argentina always has, which is good, strong physicality, great defense, great passion, and then adding in that ability to move teams around the field, extra discipline, and yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't sound disrespectful, but having beaten Australia, New Zealand and South Africa, your best season ever in rugby championship, was that a bit of a surprise?
I don't know if I'd say it's a surprise, because, like, it's just a really good result of the little steps we've been taking each week in these campaigns, starting from France, and you could feel something building every week. So it's a good thing. We're really, you know, we're happy with where we're at. But like I say, we haven't really spoken about that either, because we just keep on working on every single day, coming in, getting better, who we are, understanding how we play, and then that finishing in a performance on Saturday.
You've obviously come across Tony Brown in your coaching, you know, with the Highlanders. What have you seen different with the Springboks in terms of, has their approach sort of surprised you at all?
It hasn't surprised me. I know Tony really well. We actually live 15 minutes from each other.
Okay.
We played together in the Highlanders for a year, but what he's changed is they play with more width. You can certainly see their keenness to move the ball, especially on turnover, once they get a little bit of momentum on the edge. Slightly different shape with their forwards. A little bit more ball playing with their forwards, and as well the use of shorter lineouts. So all that with Tony, you always know that there's going to be the odd trick play as well coming to the game. So you don't know where it's going to come, but last week you saw the kick over the back of the head of Reinach. So there's always going to be little things like that he brings.
Is it easier for you to defend when you know someone that well, to sort of plan to defend against?
Yes and no. I mean, with that, you understand the DNA as well of how they're going to play with Tony, but then with South Africa, there's still going to be big, strong guys running hard into you. So, yeah, you can plan for it, but for us, a lot of our trainings, we focus on us, just the same principles in defence without taking too much time for the specifics of the opposition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Then went back, and we normally on Wednesdays we have Springbok interviews. We do two players up front, and then we do another one, which Thursday's the off day, so then we get to use that on Thursday. It's embargoed for Thursday. And up on Wednesday were the two wingers, Ches and Colby and Kurt the Orenser. So you can hear them next, and their thoughts on the game as well.
We can go, guys. Annemie?
Hi, Cleveland. We saw that you've been practicing your kicking this week, and we gathered from the coach yesterday that obviously other people will be responsible for kicking. We know you can kick. Is you still comfortable doing that? Or you're not officially any team's kicker, but
Yeah, no, I'm comfortable with it. I think I've been training and working on it throughout the season, and obviously getting a bit of tips and advice from guys like Andre Mani and Coach Tony as well, which definitely helps me and gives me that bit of confidence. Yeah, as I said, I'm comfortable in doing so, and I've been working on it, which is good. You never know what can happen on the day, and if that does happen, then yeah, as long as I'm confident I had the work on throughout the week, I'm happy to help and contribute to the team wherever I can.
Have you kicked that goal at the stadium?
I've only trained throughout this week at the stadium, and you know, it's a good field. Get a bit of distance as well up the side, but yeah, not sure who's taking over yet, but whoever is going to be taking that responsibility will back that decision 100% and also give confidence to whoever's kicking.
Chesley, you've thrown in the line out, you've put the ball into the scrum, now you're kicking. Is there a shortage to the things you can do in a rugby field?
A bit of a wild card, but no, I think Sevens helped me quite a bit, especially with the line-out throwing, and I actually didn't believe that when the coaches came to me and they had a plan or play for the team and it was for me to throw in. Yeah, as long as I'm comfortable and confident to do a job and it's positive to the team, I'm happy to do so. But yeah, I try and work on it each and every week during training. But yeah, just happy to help and assist wherever I can.
Quickly, you've obviously won the World Cup last year, but you went around when the team last won the rugby championship. How nice would it be for you to add that on your rugby CV on Saturday?
Yeah, no, I think it would be special to win the rugby championship for us as a group, and yeah, and just building on that, yeah.
And just as a combination, how nice is it to play alongside Chesley in the BOK jersey?
Yeah, no, I think it's really special playing with Chesley, but he's got so much experience, and yeah, I can just learn from him, and yeah, I'm happy to be in the same team as Ches, yeah.
Cartoli, you get surprise of something about Argentina last Saturday, and what do you expect from Argentina this Saturday?
No, I think Argentina played really well. Yeah, we know that they like to run the ball, and I think we expect them to do the same this weekend. And I think we will be up for it. Yeah, and just rectify where we did wrong last weekend.
Jason, is it okay?
Yeah.
Jason, can I ask you? I have to ask permission nowadays. Jason, can I ask you? You guys were on two different sides of the planet this past Saturday. You were here in South Africa. Kirkley was in Argentina. What went through your head whilst you were watching? I'm assuming you watched the match. And your thoughts on that performance over there in Argentina, looking ahead to what's going to come this week?
No, obviously as a player you want to play every test match, but you obviously accept what the coaches' roles are and who they select, and you just go there to support whoever's given the opportunity to perform on the weekends. And the first 17 minutes, the way the boys played and turned up was really great, and showed what we can do. I think we just obviously need to be more clinical and be more selfish at times to close off games. But that's why I love rugby and the sport, is because you get an opportunity the following weekend again to rectify those kind of mistakes that happened last week. But I think the fight, the effort, you can't fault any of the players and the coaches. Everybody did more than 100% by just seeing the videos, analyzing that they've done in Argentina. Yeah, just sometimes the ball just doesn't go your way and you fall short of getting a W. But it's another opportunity for us. It's another massive week for us, and we just need to focus on what we can control and also adapt on situations on the game or during the game. So yeah, it's just focusing on us and also analyzing the Argentinian team, because they've done really well throughout the season, winning Australia, winning New Zealand, and beating us up in Argentina. So it's going to be a massive one this weekend, and one that I'm sure each and every player is excited for.
Can I ask you though, like your coach yesterday mentioned that it was a very difficult flight for you guys, flying 12 hours with Argentina in the same flight, knowing besides sitting next to you on the flight just beat you guys in Argentina. But you also mentioned when you guys landed in South Africa, you guys were inspired, you guys in home soil again. Are you guys inspired ahead of this test match here on home soil in Gombe?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's always special to play at home in front of the sellout crowd. I think we were a bit down after the loss, but I think when we got here, we got back to zero and focused on what we have to do this coming Saturday. Yeah.
Cheslin, does it help that you watched last weekend's game in terms of knowing what to expect and playing right wing this week? Maybe you might get a bit more intel from Kurtley on the guy that he played against. Does that actually help?
No, it definitely helps watching games that you're not involved, because you see it from a different pitch, a different angle, and it definitely helps because you can contribute to the team, especially coming in on Monday in seeing different things from the television. And then yes, obviously the players that Argentina has, I'm sure you're probably referring to Carreras on the wing, a phenomenal rugby player, a lot of X-factor and talent all across the back line. It's guys that has a sevens background and guys that can create things out of nothing and brings that energy to their team. So yeah, it definitely helps watching from home and also getting advice from the guys and what it felt like playing them up in Argentina. So every bit helps and every bit contributes to the team's success at the end of the day.
Cheslin, is the first time for Argentina winning New Zealand, Australia and Springbok in the same tournament. Do you feel that Argentina is growing with the year? What are your feelings playing against Pumas, and if you look after special players?
No, they've definitely developed over the years, and I think this year they showcased that, especially under the new coach Kontupomi and the players they involved in the group. It shows what style they want to play. First of all, they want to give the ball some air and play width to width. So yeah, there's obviously a lot of excitement and a lot of confidence in their group, and they deserve it because they played in week in and week out and delivered and performed. And for us is just to make sure we focus on ourselves and also make sure that we know what to expect from them and their players and what they can create out of nothing. So yeah, we need to analyze our position, but we also need to make sure that we know our roles and responsibilities first as a team and as an individual in a specific position, and then go out on that field and just adapt to certain scenarios and situations. But yeah, it's a final this weekend, and there's been a good relationship and bond between Argentina and South Africa, and yeah, this weekend will definitely be a good one.
We are used to play finals. In Argentina, we are not used to play finals.
Yeah, so they're definitely going to be super excited and hungry for this opportunity on Saturday, but so are we going to be as well. Yes, we've been fortunate to be playing in a lot of finals in the past few years, and that definitely will also help because you have guys that have experience, guys that knows what it feels like, but you can't rely on what happened on the past. It's about now and now. So yeah, Saturday is definitely be a different challenge and one that we're excited about.
Guys, can we go to Afrikaans? Last English question, because then Malcolm's coming, please.
You guys have both played on the left and the right wing for the Springboks. How do you decide, and what do you make of being confused for each other in commentary?
I think the coaches always comes to us, and when once they start asking the question, we'll just look at each other and we don't mind playing left or right, and I'm sure Kurtley does feel the same. Wherever, if it's left or right, I don't mind. So yeah,
I think we just want to be on the field. Doesn't matter which side. Yeah, I think we just want to be out on the field and represent our country.
Jason, praat gou vinnig soos jy in Engels verduidelik het, die rol wat jy moontlik gaan moet vertolk hierdie naweek in hierdie finale toets nou, dit blyk my asof jy moontlik 'n rol bietjie van 'n skopper kan speel. En kortliks, hoe was jou gevoel geweest om in Suid-Afrika te sit? En Kurtley, in jou geval, jy wat in Argentinië was, wat was jou gevoelens geweest? Dit was ook 'n besonderse jaar vir jou geweest. Jy het besonder goed gevaar by die Blou Bulle. Sal jy hierdie seisoen of hierdie deel van die seisoen wil afeindig met 'n moontlike trofee Saterdag?
Ja, vir my, ek sal net fokus op my rolpunte op 14 en net seker maak ek is 100% gedryf deur wat ons geoefen het deur die week en dit op die veld gaan uitleef. En ja, as ek skop Saterdag skop ek. Ek het bietjie obviously of deur die seisoen aan my skoppe gewerk met die coaches en seker van die skoppers soos Andre en Mani. So ja, as dit gebeur dat ek moet skop, as ek confident genoeg en happy genoeg om dit te doen vir die span.
Ja, ek dink ons het goed begin in Argentinië, of ons eerste helfte was goed gewees en ek dink is net die geel kaart wat ons bietjie gekos het en ek dink Argentinië het gebruik gemaak van dit en ja, ek moet sê dit was 'n goeie seisoen vir my gewees maar ek dink net aan om elke game my beste te gee en te fokus op nou soos Cheslin gesê het, ja.
Cheslin, jy het vroeër in jou loopbaan mense gesê, jy is nie klein om toetsraket te speel en het hulle uiteraard verkeerd bewys oor die jare. Daar was destyds op baie lank opvatting dat vleuels moet baie lank en groot moet wees, veral met die jongskoppe. Toe jy ingekom met hulle verkeerd bewys en toe Kurt Liewe aangesluit wat nie veel groter is as jy nie, dink jy hulle het so 'n bietjie 'n nuwe mode begin?
Ja, ek moet sê daar's manne seker voor ons tyd ook wat gespeel het, ons soos Brent Russell, Geaplon, maar het net nie soveel kans gekry as wat ons nou kry nie en dit hang ook maar net af van elke coach hoe hy die game sien en ja, dis obviously klomp negativiteit in terme van hoe groot en hoe lank en hoeveel jy weeg, maar vir my wat my gemotiveer het is alle negativiteit en dis net om mense verkeerd te bewys op die veld en net my 100% te gee vir wie ook al ek speel en om my groen goud trui oor jou kop te trek, jy is bereid om enigiets te gee en ja, hopelik is daar nou 'n nuwe uitkyk vir spelers wat klein of nie groot in struktuur is nie, maar hulle het die hart, hulle het die ambisie en hulle is bereid om alles te gee vir Suid-Afrika.
Net interessant dat as jy teen groot veld soos Caleb Clark speel, is dit iets waaraan jy dink, dat hy 'n paar kilos groter as jy is, is dit enigstens of is dit net op teenstander?
Nee, glad nie. Ek sê altyd as mense my die vraag vra daar buite, dan warm-up, dan sien jy hoe groot die man is, maar sodra jy daai eerste vletjie blaas tussen daai 4 lyne, dan lyk almal maar vir my dieselfde. So ja, obviously jy weet as sekere spelers groter of meer as jy weeg, hoe jy die game dan gaan kyk en hoe jy defensive gaan opset. So dit pla my nie regtig nie, want daar's obviously goed wat ons deur die week opoefen en jou daai bietjie confidence gee, maak nie saak teen wie jy opkom nie, hoeveel hulle weeg nie, is net as jy daai regte mentaliteit het en die attitude het om uit te gaan en net jou beste te gee, nooit op te gee nie, is goed.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Bye, donkey.
Dankie.
For those who watch these videos, I know every now and then we get some complaints about the sound. Mostly the sound is just to give you a background what happens. SA Rugby run the press conferences, so there's no mics, there's no audio equipment from their side. Literally sit at a table and you put your tape recorder down or whatever. So often what happens, we put our sound equipment down, obviously at the players because their quotes are the most important. And then people say they can't hear the questions. Well, unfortunately, there's about 30 of us there. And if we had to put a mic to everybody and pass them around, we'd have about 30 mics being passed around. And that would be just chaos. So they don't really allow that. Obviously, the solution, as in some other sports that we've seen, is that they provide a feed and that, but that doesn't happen. Yeah, unfortunately, and I know some people complain about it, yeah, we do our best, and it's literally a situation that if myself and one or two other guys on YouTube don't upload these videos, they probably wouldn't be there. So I do apologize for that, but that's the reality of the situation. Always trying to improve it, but we don't really get one-on-one access with the guys either. They sort of keep that out of bounds. So yeah, I'm just as frustrated at times. I'm going to see if there's some solutions in the future for this, but sometimes you're just so pressed for time as well, obviously getting stories out and doing other things as well. So anyway, this is Malcolm Marks is the next guy. He was up for Thursday. He has his comments as well.
Saturday, what do you expect on this Saturday?
Yeah, it was a great game, obviously, last weekend for them. I mean, you can see they've beaten each team in the Rugby Championship. I think it's the first time in history that they've done that as well, which is an awesome achievement for them. And they're in the running for the championship as well. Yeah, very, very exciting brand of rugby. Yeah, but I think us as a team, we look forward to that challenge as well.
You guys, last Saturday, you guys started like a house on fire in that first quarter of the match, first 20 minutes of the match. How do you rectify those things going into this match? Is it a case of Springboks once again starting well and ending off well this week?
Yeah, I think we obviously slacked off in certain areas for some reason, but yeah, we obviously have had a recap on the game and had a look to see where we can improve and where we can get better, and worked on that throughout this week. So yeah, hopefully we can put it together for a full 80 this weekend.
It's fair to think that there won't be any lack of physicality from both sides this weekend, especially your visitors as well. They would be confident knowing they've got one win over you guys already, and they would back themselves as well this weekend.
It will be tough this weekend. Definitely will be.
Just physicality-wise, the teams you play against in this competition, how does that challenge differ from, let's say, the few ones on Saturday playing against the All Blacks and the Wallabies?
I mean, it is international rugby, so it is always going to be physical. And yeah, I wouldn't really say that one team is more physical than the other. It's different tricks, different ways that each country plays. So yeah, I wouldn't say one is more physical than the other. They've all been tough games, and like I said, this weekend will be tough as well, physical battle as well.
Were you here in 2022 against All Blacks at Montgomery?
Yes, I was.
Would it be good to be on the winning side again here and still retain your unbeaten record here at this venue?
I think it would be good for us. I mean, it's a great place to play rugby. I mean, the crowd's unbelievable. But yeah, it would be good for us, and I think we look forward to the challenge that's coming on Saturday.
So now, when it comes to weather conditions, I spoke to one of my Argentinian colleagues. They reckon this is much cooler compared to where you guys played this past Saturday.
It definitely is a little bit cooler. Not to say that this is cool, but yeah, last weekend was hot. Humidity as well was quite hectic, but there was different ways to challenge yourself as well, which is good. But yeah, I wouldn't say that this is cool either. It's been a hot couple of days here as well.
So 37 degrees would be easy for you guys this coming Saturday?
37 degrees?
I'm told around about that type of thing, which is wow.
Oh no, okay. Well, yeah, it might be a little bit hotter, but I think the humidity in Argentina was a little bit worse. But yeah, I mean, can't complain about it. Both teams have to play in it, so.
Malcolm, it's a special week. It's like a final on Saturday.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it could go either way. We're definitely looking forward to that challenge. We're preparing the best that we can, obviously to play the best possible rugby that we can as well.
Malcolm, you're normally part of the bomb squad. Sometimes you start, sometimes it's on the bench. Is your approach to the game different when you start compared to start being the bomb squad coming on later?
I think everybody's got a role and know what their role is whether you start or you come off the bench. I mean, when I come off the bench, I'm just trying to make an impact, obviously in a positive way. And you try and do the same when you start. So yeah, I think each player just tries to give their best, whether you're starting or come off the bench. You know that there's a broader picture than whether you're starting or finishing the game.
Is there a difference to how you pace yourself starting versus finishing?
Not necessarily, because you know that there's guys. If you start, you know that there's guys that are coming off the bench that are fresh, that can just take over from where you left off, or if you started getting tired. And if you come off the bench, you know that you've got to make an impact to try and lift the intensity and try and bring a different dynamic to the game as well. So I don't necessarily think there's a way that I approach the game differently. If you start or not, because you know that there's guys coming off the bench that will do the job as well.
And looking at Argentina, they've got so many sevens guys, and they basically try to run you off your feet. From a technical perspective, how do you contain a team like that? Because obviously you don't want to engage them.
It is difficult. I think I got stepped once or twice last weekend as well. They're very, very good rugby players, as you saw last weekend. Obviously, don't want to give away too much by saying anything now, but yeah, we've trained really, really hard this week and well. So yeah, we're just looking forward to the challenge on Saturday, and hopefully we can perform.
Everyone happy? Yeah? Cool.
Thank you.
I'll give him a
Friday is obviously a big day as well. So first of all, I think first we're going to some quotes from Felipe Contepomi, who spoke about the box, and specifically Manie Libbok. He praised him. He said he doesn't think he's a weak link for the box. And so here's his quotes at his team announcement. They, of course, made 7 changes to their team. Definitely looking to go for the win and see if they can grab the rugby championship. But here's his comments about some of the changes, Manie Libbok, and a few other things.
No, first of all, I don't think Manie Libbok is a weak point in the South African team. The other way around, I think he's a brilliant player, and I've been following him throughout his career and so on, and I've always rated him really, really high as a player, and I think it's part of what they want to do. You can see South Africa very powerful on the pack and so on, but they want to play a bit wider, and Tony Brown's hands is there, you know, so you can see that Manie Libbok fits perfect to what they want to do. Komezulu could have done it, but he's injured, and you know, and I'm sure it's a good backup, and they know what to do, and he's a strong player, so, and a lot of character. I don't see that as a weak point. I see South Africa as a very strong team with not many weak links and not many weak points in their whole structure. So we need to be very smart and play really at our top if we want to impose our game plan. First of all, to recover properly, because there's a long voyage in the middle, and obviously we had we know we are playing the same team as last week, so the scouting is not a new scouting altogether, and obviously we tried to learn from last week, so we took the learnings, and that's what we are focusing on, improving what we've done last week. So there's a lot of recovering, only I wouldn't say even short week, and hybrid week or something like that, you know, where we only trained once on the pitch, but there was a lot of information and learning, taking the learnings from the previous game and trying to improve to have a good game on Saturday. But for us as a team, it's not about a difference. If we surprise them, it's fine. What we try to do is to improve each training, or week in, week out in every game. So we took it from the previous game against Australia, and we said we need to improve certain parts of the game, and we tried to do that against South Africa. We still, even if we got the result we wanted, winning by 1 point, we still know that we have a lot of things to improve from the previous game, and we are going to try to do that this coming game. That's how we evaluate ourselves, and it doesn't change as much the result for us. And I know now we put ourselves in a position, very slim chance, but it's a final, and we treat it as a game. It's a slim chance for us, and we know it's there. But our main focus is on every action, how we behave ourselves in terms of the previous game, and how if we improve the things we said we have to improve, the players we have in the full squad, you could see they make changes as well because they trust on their players as well. You know, so it's about trusting and trying to get the best combination for each game. We thought that with the traveling and we have some fresh legs coming or some players who've been training really well throughout the last few weeks, and now they can go and make the job for us. And we also have players with experience coming off the bench as well. So it's a bit of that combination of trying to get people freshness and what are the best combinations for this game, or what we think are the best combinations for this game.
And then Friday is a very busy day for the box. There's a lot of everybody comes in, the hotels get full, lots of people, friends, family arrive, and they all in jovial moods because the work's done for the week. And the first thing they always do is the BOK team photo. And as you'll see from this, there was a lot of fun being had at the BOK team photo this week. As always, the guys are in very good spirits when it happens. And there's about 20 photographers that stand there and obviously take this photo. And so that's the next on this list, is watch how the BOK team photo unfolded.
Yes, yes, die groot donkers. Groot donkers. Yes. Wat sê jy? Hierdie kant. Waar is die kos? Ja, maar wat koud is hulle? Thomas?
Het julle nie genoeg gedrink nie?
Niet te helpen voor de kwijt.
Just watch the guy, don't bump this catwalk, please.
Nou, rasselijk Afrikaans gepraat, jy moet hom stamp.
Hey, fok off nou man.
Hendrik wil kellen.
Oké, Hendrik. Hendrik, gunt je alsjeblieft, hè?
Merci man, merci.
Nee man, je moet zeggen, wat is het?
Thomas, is het oké dit? Ja. Volgens mij? Onthou Zina, ek het nog...
Evans se kind.
Oh ja.
Asseblief, niks gepuns vir Evans se dogtertjie. Oxy? Ek weet maar. Oxy nou. Ek gaan hom vra.
It's good dear. Urban. Kijk, als je een centimeter terug kan schuiven, net zoals je is. Yes, dat is het.
Zeker.
100. Ja. Want als je niet je camera legt, dan check het net bij je. Ja, 100%. Weet, soms stik je lens een beetje uit. Maar het is 100. Goud.
Oh no, you did.
Dis my oomblik. Jy? Nee, ja, jy is nie. Ek sal vir jou sê, moenie worry nie. Maar wat is jou naam nou weer? Blake. Jou nou weer? Matt. Blake. Gaan jy
ek het baie nog nooit my lewe gehoor.
Wie?
Nooit was ek
nooit van Blake Waring. Nee. Never. Word ons nie 'n coachie? Ja, JJ, hulle kan middel toe daarbo.
Maak toe julle.
Ja, kyk op daar. So Vincent is reg. Ja, hulle moet boonste ry. Yes. Thanks Thomas. Ja, wie sê? Ek weet nie slaan nie. Hulle almal game face. JJ se game face. Daar's hy vir JJ. Almal saam sê JJ.
Dankie.
Jy wag maar.
Ha?
Yes. You can't tell him anything, he gets upset. Thinks he's Batman.
Ja.
Get some suns. Ox, be careful, you spent a lot of money on that hair, eh?
Okay. Jy mic aan, JJ.
Ek dink hy het vergeet.
Ox, you spent a lot of money on that hair, eh? Be careful.
You can just wait for the sun and I'll be happy.
Better on 13 or 14.
Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun. Ek is gebruik met hierdie ding in Argentinië. Dit kry so vet rashies. Dan moet jy rompies smeer.
Rasie?
No clip.
Okay, bene.
Hande.
Yes.
Gaan ons, steady. Game face. Hold die arm. Smile. Thank you very much. Eben, play, Sia play. Ja, Rassie play. Met.
Meneer?
Ja, ek wil gaan.
Keep the light there.
That's the real diamond.
Asai. Ja, paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
Sorry.
Coach, as jy van my sal kyk, from left to right, please. Okay, dankie JJ, armpie, dankie.
Rassie Eben. Rassie.
Okay, cool.
Going. Dankie, Sia Eben.
Dankie, thanks man. Oh, there is a love.
Yeah, there we go.
What's up, JJ?
There is no new time. We're gonna get changed and get.
Off to the Mbombela Stadium again, which is really looking lovely. The field's looking extremely fast. It's going to be a lovely game. It's going to be in the 30s when the kickoff takes place. So a hot, fast running game we expect on Saturday. But we go take the captain's practice, which of course is much more jovial than the other practices a lot of the time. And the guys play a lot of touch rugby and things like that. They don't really do too much training there, but again, we only allowed a certain amount of time. So this is what we filmed at the captain's practice on Friday.
Morning.
Have you received the wristband yet from Z?
No, she's not here yet, so. Yeah, I'm just going to wait there. I'll wait there for them. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. As dit nie vir die spanfoto was nie.
Was jy by die spanfoto?
Ja. Maar nou weer. Nee, dit is...
Hey! Jy!
Ja.
Ja, wag.
No.
Hallo. Go back. Go back, please. No, go back. Please.
Okay, TV, we can do the branding. We can do the branding. So let's. Yeah, thanks, Kenny. Yeah, just. Thank you. Foul.
Net uit die boordshout uitkom.
Gewoon zo lang dat we ons op het papier gewoon krijgen. Oké?
Thank you guys. Dankie Chris.
And then the final word of the week goes to Sia Kulisi and Mzwandile Stick, the captain's press conference. They go out and they do press conference on a Friday afternoon, and it's not obviously normally quite jovial. It's a good time of the week to do it. Sia's a great guy. He spoke especially passionately about Evan Etzebeth and about Mani Libok in this press conference, and how he loves obviously Evan, and Mani's his general. So have a listen.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to our captain's video conference. We've got Nzwandile Stick, assistant coach, and Sia Kolisi, captain. Please raise your hands for questions. One question at a time. Last 10 minutes will be Sitosa. Anami.
Thank you. Sia, this is a happy hunting ground for you. You made your debut here in 2013 against Scotland. Do you have fond memories of that game and looking forward to doing the same again?
Yeah, of course. I'll never forget my first game. It was special. It was actually a tough game against Scotland. I remember we were behind a lot of the game, and Scotland put us under a lot of pressure. And I'll never forget John's reaction when they were putting us under pressure at halftime. He said, "Don't worry, boys, we'll score first." And I think they scored first, and then he started laughing. Then I was wondering why he was laughing. I asked him years later. He said he didn't want to show us that he was actually panicking. He just wanted to show us the calm side. But it was definitely a special game. I mean, sure you saw on the media, first person that said welcome me in the field was Eben, which was a special moment for me. And this weekend is a special moment for him. And I'm so grateful that I can be part of this game this weekend.
Sia, Mirai de Villiers, I'm from Radio Laveld, it's a local radio station. Question is it, who is your best friend in the team, and how special is it for you to start tomorrow against him, with him, in what is his 128 match?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of close relationship in the team. There's a lot of guys in the group that I've started with. France, Damien, we started when we were 19 together. Andre, when he started here, I was here as well. So Jesse, Vili, all the guys, and obviously Cheslin I'm very close with, and obviously Eben is somebody that I'm close with on and off the field. Our families are very tight. I remember I met him when I was 18, and then I had a sleepover with him when I went to Institute. Actually, when I got introduced to the Afrikaans culture was through Eben, and we've been mates. Even when he left to go overseas, we stayed in contact. I would say, in the rugby family, he's definitely, I'm so excited to play with him this weekend. And I know he doesn't want anything to be about him this weekend. The biggest way of us showing how special he is to us as a team is if the team plays well and we win. I think that will be what he'll be proud of the most, if to drink out of that trophy on Saturday.
What makes him a standout thing apart from the catch?
Oh, I think a lot of people always see the brutal force that he plays with, the enforcing role that he's taken over, in our team. His leadership as well is really amazing. He's someone that I can lean on. But I think what people don't understand how intelligent he is, the rugby brain that he has, the plans that he comes up with. He's got a lot, so much more to him than just physicality, and we see it each and every single time. And I think the way he cares about the team, the way he cares about the values of the team, the way he wants us to put the team first at all times, and he wants to make sure, like, a lot of the values of the team that have been kept intact. And for me, it makes my life so much easier to have someone like him in the group. All I can focus on is the mood of the group, how the group is doing on the field as well. But he makes sure that everybody stays in line, and just how smart he is as well.
When you made your debut here against Scotland, one of the first people to welcome you onto the turf was Eben himself. Now, for you, as one of his best friends, to be able to lead the team out for him when he makes this landmark achievement as the most capped Springbok player of all time, was it quite special for you to sort of, in a way, return the favour that he showed you when he welcomed you onto the pitch when you made your debut?
Yeah, whatever way you look at it, I think it's special for all of us. I mean, we've spoken about it as a group. Coach Rassi spoke about it today. We're the group that's sitting with the guy that's going to run out as the most capped Springbok ever. And it takes a lot to get a lot of care for the Springboks. And the manner that he's done it in, I think is one of the most consistent guys that we have in our group, and he showed it year in, year out, and just how he carries other people with him. So it's not just the fact that I want to be running out leading the team. I think all of us, we just want to go out there and show what he means, but most importantly, do it for South Africa.
Yeah, just on that, I mean, to these type of milestones, there's always the danger of a little bit too much emotion for the team, etc. You guys have played big games and big finals as well, so you know how to handle that. Just tomorrow, is it more? It's more about making sure the rugby championship gets secured first, and then Evan's milestone second, or how do you see it?
100%. That's what he wants to. He wants to win the rugby championship. That's how we talk about. We've never won a full rugby championship as this group. The one that we won was one round. So that's our biggest motivation for the game, and then we'll celebrate his milestone. You know, without that, it's gonna be a damp mood in the camp. You know, so we just want to win the rugby championship, and we have to respect the team that we're playing with, and we have. And we saw what they could do last week. They're definitely a different team. A lot has changed. They have a lot of belief in their team, and the coach is changing things. He's doing things differently. The way he picked the team this weekend, putting most of the experienced guys on the bench. Obviously, the plan behind that. So we've done as much. We're more prepared than we were last week. I can tell you that much, because I think we played against a lot of guys that we didn't play against in the past, and now we're a little bit more prepared this week.
Sorry, when you say you're more prepared than you were last week, what's the difference?
I think we've seen what the new guys that have come into camp, what they've done, because they did make a big impact. Some of the guys that came from the Sevens circuit, so we got to see how they play, and we got to watch more clips of them, you know, and it's given us a better idea that we this week have no excuse, because we've seen them play last week, and now we've watched clips during this week, and we're prepared for it as well.
Coach, there's again been a lot of talk about Manili BOK and the kicking throughout the week. How is he been training? What are some of the conversations you guys have had with him? Morale-wise, how is he going into another test match where he starts with number 10 jersey?
Yeah, I think Mani's in good space, you know, and there's one thing about how we operate as a team, and he knows we've got his back. We support him 100% as a team, you know, and he's been Manili BOK, you know, the money that brings energy into our team. That's one thing that sometimes people don't realize about him, the impact that he does have in our general play. And I know a lot of people, they focus on his kicking, but the impact that he brings, most especially with ball in hand, he's a special kid. So he is in a good space, and I think even the guys that are playing around him, if you think about Jaden, is getting an opportunity to start. He's been with us for the past couple of years, and he's we know he's got a bright future as a young kid, and getting Damian back also, you know, some of the guys we rested last week. So if you look at the way we selected the team, I think we've got guys that I feel like they are nice and fresh, and be able to handle Argentina's probably speed, because see, I touch on it again, most of their players, they've got a sevens background, you know. If you look at now what they've selected on the wing with Iskro, World Series Player of the Year, you know, and if you look at Mani, for example, what he offers to us, I think we should be able to counter whatever they're going to bring to us. But yeah, he is in a good space.
Just following up on that, what role did you play as a captain in supporting Mani after the abuse he received last week?
Mani, I talk to Mani all the time. He's my general. He's the most important guy in our team. Talking about where we're attacking, where the kicking game, where we go in the game, and he knows that every single guy in the team is backing him, you know, and you can see with the selection, he's playing again this weekend, and we know what Mani is good at, and that's all we focus on. And a game, if you look at a kick and you think the game is lost there, we looked at the game, we saw so many opportunities that we left on the field, and it's either a missed tackle, somebody missed a tackle, they score a try. So that's how we look at the game. We don't look at one moment. There are many moments in a game where a game could be won. So me, all I did was hug Mani and tell him, he must tell me where to go. He must tell me when we want to go for touch, when we want to maul, when we want to scrum. He must just do what he does. So he's working with confidence. He's put it behind him, and all the coaches ask him, just do what you do, and what you can't do, somebody else can do, and that's why we play a team sport. That's the beauty about rugby. You know, if you're lacking somewhere, somebody else will look after you in that. So Mani is in a good place. I'm not really worried about him, and the group is not worried about him. He definitely knows I back him 100%.
Coach,
Yeah.
Coach, all the talk about the other kickers, other potential kickers in the team throughout this week, how's it actually going to work with the goal kicking? Do you start with Mani? Because I think there's a confusion where a lot of people are thinking, well, the other guys are going to do the kicking and Mani's just going to do the
We've got a plan in place, Sim, and I'm not going to go too deep on it, but we've got a plan in place. And like Sia just said now, maybe some players, if you lack something somewhere, you understand, someone also can make it up. And there's no rule in the game that number 10 must always kick for goals. There's no rule like that. So whoever on a day we feel like, you know what, he can do the job for us. It can be a prop. If he can kick for poles, then we'll ask a prop to kick for poles. You know, but we've got a plan in place. But once again, Mani will always be our general, for example. Do you understand? Like Sia just said now, a lot of people, they focus, yes, we had an opportunity to win the game with a kick, but there's a lot of things that we did wrong in the game, where we weren't even supposed to be in that stage where it was a close game. Do you understand? If you start well, within 15 minutes, you've got 17 points, you know, and then yellow card came in, and then Argentina started to capitalize from that, you know. So there's a lot of things that we could have looked at, you know, as a coaching staff, and we understand very well. A lot of things that we saw in that game is things that we spoke about even before the game. Because once again, Argentina, they are a good side. And if you look at what they've achieved so far this season, to be able to travel to New Zealand and beat New Zealand away from home. And I keep on saying every week, people must give the respect they deserve, you know, and to put 60 points against Australia also. So we knew the challenge. And for that 20 minutes when we had a yellow card, do you understand? They understood what needed to be done at that time. They capitalized from it. And like Sia just said now, maybe some players you miss tackle and it's 7 points. But a lot of people will focus on the 3 points that we've missed at the end. So once again, we took it as a team from the coaching staff also. You know, we took it as a team. Listen, we've lost a game as a team, and then this week we've got an opportunity to rectify everything that we've done wrong last week. And you can't ask for any better place than Bombela. I think the memories here. The last time we played against the All Blacks, it was just another special. I will never forget the Vilileru moment after he scored that final try, you know, where you can just jump into the stands and just hug your supporters. That image for me is one of the special ones. So we know Bombela, they're going to carry us, you know. This is one of the crowds where the supporters, I know, they're always with you. You know, sometimes even things that won't go well, they don't turn against us, you know. So hopefully we can also make it special for them.
Okay.
Speaking about missed tackles, it was probably the poorest defensive effort last week of the whole year. I know you guys had a yellow card, but I know you guys trained for that, and you defended a lot better when there have been yellow cards previously. Has that been a big focus this week? And was it something? I mean, was it all on you guys? Or did Argentina bring something a bit different, a bit unexpected?
No, I think they definitely brought something different, but we prepared for it, and I think, yeah, some of the things that they do in the game is not what they normally did in the past. They definitely a different team, as coach said. They definitely deserve, you know, the credit that they are getting, and they played really well, and they capitalized. I mean, we had. Currently got the yellow card. They absolutely made use of that opportunity. But I think also on us, we weren't happy with some of the tackles, you know, we missed as a team, and we definitely focus on it this week. And yeah, I have no doubt it will be a different approach from us coming this weekend.
Coach, this year we've seen the Boks sometimes get off to a slow start and having to sort of build into the game. Last week we were off to a flyer and then had that sort of 20-30 minutes period where we kind of fell off it. What has the conversation been about that sort of 80-minute performance and trying to keep that intensity throughout the game?
Yeah, I think the start last week, it was one of our main focus to start well against them, and we've managed to do that. But I think this week it's a totally different story. I think you have to play for 80 minutes because once again, the second 20 minutes in that first half, when they got an opportunity, like we spoke about, we're not going to use the yellow card as an excuse to understand. It's just that when the Argentinian team, when they've got momentum in the game, they can capitalize straight from it. They've got players with confidence. If you look at the way, for example, Carreras at wing, and then you've also got another one, Carreras also at fullback. Those guys, they've got X factor, And for me, someone who comes from a sevens background also, if I look at their team, one thing people don't understand about them, they've got big heart. They're players, they work hard on the field. I think that is where sometimes we were a bit disappointed, because if you look at the way they had line breaks in the game, and normally in the other games against the All Blacks will have line breaks against us, but it's how we work hard to go and rectify those mistakes, which is we didn't see it last week, So yeah, it was one of the biggest focus, but I know one thing for sure about them. They are a very, very, very proud nation also. It's going to be a special occasion, but like Sia just said now, I think this week we're better prepared than them, and they've made some changes also into that team, and to be able to put a guy like Matera on the bench, one of their most experienced players, it shows that they've got a plan. But once again, also on the other side, we've also got our plan, and yeah, whoever is going to execute tomorrow, I think they'll stand a good chance to win the game, but it's going to be an 80-minute.
Morning. Coach Sia Kolisi, can I ask you, that
Is it coach? Is it coach?
Sia Kolisi,
Okay.
That 40 minutes in the coaching box, what is the experience like? And I've got a two-part question. Is there any plans for Sia Kolisi, maybe in the near future, in the late future, to consider going back into a coaching box? And the second part of my question, Sia, you guys are very professional. You guys are playing at the highest level. Argentina managed to spoil your Grand Slam opportunities last week. Do you guys ever use the words revenge or having a bone to pick with Argentina?
No, we definitely don't use those words. Well, we haven't this week. We just know this is a new game, and we need to deliver. We need to rectify what we did last week. We had a great start, but we didn't continue the momentum, and that's what we want to start with intensity. That's what we speak about, and sometimes starting with intensity doesn't mean scoring points, doesn't mean you're going to score points. It's just the intent on the way that you're doing things in the game. And the coaching box experience, I think I couldn't last longer than the half. There's a lot happening there, and it made me understand how hard it is for first of all, a guy like Dwayne to be, because the way they say the messages, Dwayne has to take it and digest it and say it as nice as he can to a player. But I firsthand heard how they actually speak. I actually did it before when I was a water boy, and I had to send a message to Trevor. I had to say it the nicest way the first time, and it didn't look like he listened to me, because he did the same thing they told him not to do. Then I told him exactly what they said out in the box. I saw his whole body language change in the game. But what I saw from obstacles, it was very hot in Argentina. It was the humidity as well, and I saw the energy dropping. What they play, the coaches always tell us, body language, and I felt I was more useful standing on the side of the field and encouraging the players from there. I know my voice is not really gonna fight against 50,000 people, I think, that they were in that stadium, but yeah, it's something different. It gave me a lot of respect for what they do, and it also makes me understand when I hear a message from Dwayne, okay, this is what they're saying, because I saw it last week. But I won't coach, no. I won't coach, no.
Either of you guys, one thing Argentina's got right this rugby championship is their discipline has been exceptional. They haven't conceded far. Contrast is you guys, when you look at the rugby championship stats, you guys have conceded the most cards out of the 4 teams. And last week it was obviously costly, etc. Is there something you can pinpoint, or is it just pressure and random stuff that happens in the game? Or have you guys picked up any sort of...
Yeah, I think we must give credit to them. Like I said, with the Contapomi in that team as a coach, he understands their DNA. Remember, he's also the legend of the game in Argentina and in the world, So I think he's pressing the right buttons with them, and for them to be able to apply pressure to oppositions and being able to keep disciplined, where in the past, for discipline was, I don't think it was, they were at their best in the past. If you look at the guys, they record some of their players, I don't want to use the names, with the record of some of the players, But now to be able, I didn't say that. Now for them to have a clean sheet at the moment where they don't have a yellow card, and that's another thing is that if you look at the scrum that we had, the first scrum, when one of their pros popped out of the scrum, but they stayed in the fight, and they didn't try anything that was funny where they make changes where we don't go to uncontested scrums. That's one thing that I respect about them. They've managed to take us on, to handle us in that game. And hopefully tomorrow again we'll see more scrums, and hopefully the crowd can also be entertained, because of once again set pieces is part of our game, So for them to be able to take us on for 80 minutes with set pieces where they don't do anything funny, where I remember the game against Australia, that second half where you don't see a contest in the scrums. I don't think that's what supporters want to see, So hopefully tomorrow things will go well again. We can be able to see a contest for 80 minutes in set pieces and also in the lineouts. So yeah, that's one thing that I respect about them. Their discipline has been good. Has been good lately.
Is there something you picked up on your side?
No.
Yeah, some of them are a high tackle. We train level change the whole time, and some it just happens in the moment. Someone catches you on that, and some of them have been team yellow cards, So, but we honestly can't have that tomorrow. We'll do our best to be, because we normally a disciplined team. So it hasn't been good in that point of view, and that's why they are where they are, because they didn't concede any cards this competition. That's something to be proud of, and it just like you said, Coach Felipe is obviously doing something special with that group, and they all believe in that. But that's something we have to rectify tomorrow.
Liam?
See, if things go well for the Boks, your trophy cabinet will bulge a little bit more. But the one thing you won't have is the number one ranking. Is that something that will irritate you?
If we win the trophy tomorrow, nothing's gonna irritate me. That's the most important. There's not much I can say about it. It's nice to be number one, but if you've got a trophy and you're not number one, it's all good.
Coach, other than the better discipline, what is it that Argentina is doing better this week?
If I look at my department, for example, talking about work rate off the ball, if you look at the players in that team, I think that is something that they are another level. That is something that we spoke about. They've got energy on the field. You can see their players, they work very hard. They play for each other. I think we've also been there in the past as a team where sometimes we're not at that time. Probably if I look at back in 2021, where yes, we were world champions, but what was special about the team at that time, it was how we normally work hard off the ball, to understand. When we played against the All Blacks in Cape Town, not to concede a try, but if you look at the line breaks they had in the game, to understand, and the fight that we saw from our players to work hard back and then being able to rectify those mistakes, that is something that people don't pay attention to Argentina. They are really, really working hard off the ball, and they've got good, proper, fit players, and they play for 80 minutes. So that is why I think for tomorrow for us, 20-minute start, good start won't be enough for us to win the game. We have to make sure that we play for 80 minutes. So yeah, besides the discipline, I think also they understand their DNA. I think they understand their strengths, and then I think their players also, they've got confidence. So if you look at a guy like Choco Barres at 12, he's been massive for them. World class the way he handles the game, physical side, and also when there's opportunities, the line breaks that he had last week. So I think they understand their strengths, which is now, like I said earlier on, ball in hand, they are very dangerous.
Now they're going to laugh at me. Is it Corsa?
Yeah, maybe we'll even it's a Mbappe sport solution. Crowd and smiles
Yebo ndiyamvuyela kakhulu mhlobo wami and so kakude naye since na 18 ngumuntu asoloko ekhona ecaleni lami oko ndiqalile i-professional rugby career yami kasoloko ndihamba naye ke kule ndlela ndihamba ngayo, and ngela xesha ndinikwa isihlalo soba ngumkhokheli indlela endisapota ngayo into engasoze ndilibale, wenza umsebenzi wami abelula apha etimini. So siyamvuyela kakhulu kum liqhawe uYeben and ngoyena mntu kum ubona xa kuthethwa ngamabhokobhoko mna ndicinga ngaye ndicinga xa ndicinga yena uYeben because indlela aziphethe ngayo phakathi ebaleni nangaphandle ebaleni and nendlela azinikela ngayo apha etimini yinto ngumzekelo omhle kakhulu for abantu abaninzi akayazi nayo.
Basically, you can ask.
Ukuphumelela kwenu letumente kuyokuthetha ukuthini kuwe njengomdlali nendlela oyazileyo xa unxibe ikhrikethi ukuthi Amabhokobhoko baphumelela kabini into yakho yesibili kodwa ngitshilo yokuqala le mpumetha epheleleyo.
No, ndavuya kakhulu but I think yiyo yodwa into engazange engekawini ne-team sonke esingaphumeleli. Okay tishara inkosi mfundisi engekaphumeli and for mna into ezazichazela le ndlela sihamba kuyo because zininzi esizenzileyo siyile team banika amadoda afumana amathuba awo kulo nyaka so sifuna ukukhulisa iteam net ezowina nje namhlanje nangomso because andiyazi mina ixesha lam lizaba ngakanani apha etimini na but ndiyayazi ekuphumeni kwam la ngenayo ayakwazi udlala kulo mgangatho sidlala kuwo thina umgangatho awuzowuhle uzawusuka nyuke so singavuya kakhulu uba sinowina for thina for uYeben nafor uMzantsi Afrika.
Ube mqeqeshi ungaziva njani ngale ndlela lezoqeqeshi baqeqeshi abo kusebenza
I think eyona ndibalulekileyo okokuqala ndingayenzi personal sidlalele ekhaya eMbombela phambi kwabalandeli bethu. Yes, besi-disappointed singakhange siphumelele last week but kodwa ke I think eyona ndibalulekileyo ukuthi make sure uba senza abalandeli bethu babe proud apha eMzantsi Afrika so lena bethethe ngayo asikayiwini i-championship epheleleyo yabona so I think izaba yi-motivation enhle kakhulu for thina as iqela lamabhokobhoko nabalandeli bethu and enye into ebalulekileyo njengomqeqeshi na kuthi make sure uba like siyazi ingomso lethu lithini yabona xa into ebalulekileyo ukuthi uba sithi make sure uba naxa sigqiba kule ndawo sikuyo nathi abalandeli abazawulandela bathi make sure uba bayifumana i-opportunity in a better place, do you understand? So that's why sometimes ufumaniseke uba xa sifuneke sifumane i-opportunity sibuilde i-squad depth, do you understand? Ibalulekile loo nto kakhulu ukwenzela uba in the future knows that it take over.
Sisixhosa kanye English?
Khawume man, hey.
Angikho sure.
So kubalulekile uba sithi make sure uba sibuilda ile nto i-squad depth also for the future yethu apha eMzantsi Afrika. So basinophumelela ingantle kakhulu singayivuyela loo nto and singayivuyela nabalandeli bethu uzokhumbuleka nendebe yehlabathi sayiwina eFrance naseJapan yabona so now to be able uphumelele i-rugby championship phambi kwabalandeli bakho I think iyaba into special kakhulu bese nditshilo ndisithi iMbombela abalandeli balapha ngabantu esiyaziyo uba they always behind us yabona noba mhlawumbi sometimes kubakho ubunzima ematchini siyayazi uba sometimes bayasikhera indlela abasisapota ngayo so kubalulekile ukuthi ngomntu sithi make sure uba sibenze babe proud nabo.
Ngesixhosa ucela ngesixhosa. That was English. The one said Xhosa.
Umqeqeshi xa ujonga izinto ezenzekileyo kula mesha kuleyo veki iphelileyo ngeziphi izilungiso othi wena kunyanzelekile nikwazi ukuthi nilungise uba nizokwazi ukuphumelela kula mesha eliyakuyo?
Into ebalulekileyo xa udlala ne-Argentina kufuneke ube clinical ngendlela oyenza osebenza ngayo ebaleni because apho banike khona i-opportunity uba kubekho i-broken play kulapho ba-dangerous kakhulu because uzukhumbule besentshilo uba abanye abalandeli babo abanye abadlali babo basuka kwi-sevens so xa igame uyenza ibe loose then ke bafuna loo nto bona yabona so kubalulekile ukuthi ithi ba uyajonga la 15 minutes indlela siqale ngayo phaya I think besi-clinical nendlela besi-apply ngayo i-pressure kwi-set pieces zethu yonke into ibihamba kakhe but ngelaa xesha siye safumana i-yellow card khona apho noko siye saphuma emgceni khona yabona bakwazi ucapitalize keza mistakes zethu besizenza pha so kubalulekile ukuthi tomorrow ba sifuna uphumelela against bona funeka ibe 80 minutes singaqali kakuhle and then switch off because uzukhumbule kaloku ii-players zabo zine-X factor phangasemva so if bangaba ubanike opportunities with loose play they will punish you.
Last question.
English?
Percy, Ian vraag.
Sorry, my last question I was going to ask about it seems like for the first part of the season now, until now, at the end of this first block, South Africans are willing to pay a lot of money to come and see you guys as all test matches. Another 43,000 expected tomorrow. What do you say to those fans who've been supporting and who's coming out tomorrow again to come and support you guys?
All I can say is, like, I don't like saying it in words, but I thank you. I think we as a group, you know, when Coach Rassi speaks before we go out on the field, you know, he puts out reminders to us as players, like, not just what we say, like the way we play is how you say thank you to people, not by words, you know. That's easy to do by our efforts, what we do on the field. And this is the last time the South African crowd can get to see us this year. And we owe them a good performance after last week. And to those that can't make it because they can't afford to be here, we also thank you for going out and watching and putting on your green t-shirt, whether it's a Springbok t-shirt or not. We say thank you very much, and we'll hopefully make them proud tomorrow. And you know, the fuel that the South African people give us, like, we can't buy that. Honestly, we can't buy that anyway. And you can feel the difference when you play at home and when you play away. And I hope they come out in numbers and they can be as loud as they can tomorrow, and they get behind us like they always do. Because last week it was tough. It was tough. The Argentinian people are just, you know, same as us. They're very passionate about the people. And I really love Argentina and its people because similar to us, they're hardworking people who, a lot of the soccer players come from very, like, similar background to mine, and they use sport to get where they are. Like someone like Carlos Tevez came from the township, but the work that he does now in his community is like some of the people that we look up to. So I encourage our people to please come and sing and enjoy themselves and be as loud as they can, and hopefully we can back that up with our performance tomorrow.
Awesome.
To get closer to the end of this, and obviously closer to kickoff time, it's going to be a big day. The game is sold out, 42,000 people. First time Argentina's ever been sold out in South Africa, so it just shows you how big the game is. Nelspruit's been wonderful, the way the people have embraced them. The Boks have really enjoyed it. Feels very much like an old school test where the whole town sort of shuts down around the test match. I haven't seen that for a while. You don't see it so much in the big centres, but it's just great to see. So with that in mind, then we'll leave it there. I'm going to leave you going out of this one with my chat with Gavin Rich, my colleague at SuperSport, about this team selection, about what we expect today to happen. So have a watch of that if you haven't already on the channel. And a reminder that all these videos you can be found on my channel. There's lots of them, and we keep on doing more and more on them, and we've got a lot more planned. So it always helps. Obviously, we don't receive a very minimal revenue out of some advertising out of this. There's no sponsors for this channel, so if anyone's ever interested in sponsoring it, please drop a line. There's an email address on the channel as well. But yeah, this is done really out of the love of rugby and to try and bring the Springboks closer to people. So please keep it in mind when you watch these videos. This is really more a passion project than anything else. So we've all got day jobs and we all got other things that we do, and we really try and just make it a bit nicer that people get a bit closer to the box. A bit of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and goes on in the press conferences that we privileged to get. And so we always like to bring this. And I read the comments. Love it when you guys subscribe. Just tells me again that it's a good thing that we're doing on this. And we're always striving to get better. Of course, there are limitations. Like everybody, we're constrained by budgets and things like that. And often it's just about getting into being in the towns where the Boks are is about the best we can do, and then the mics that we have. So keep that in mind. And those who post good constructive comments, we always like those. As I say, we do our best. So I'm going to leave you with Gavin and my chat, and then go and enjoy the game, and hopefully the Boks win. And watch this channel. We'll have the post-match press conferences, we'll have the fallout, and Gavin and I will be back again after the game with sort of a post-mortem as well. But thank you for watching. And leave you with that. Enjoy the game.
Okay, so we're back. It's 2 days before the test in Mbombela Stadium. The finale of the Castle Lager Rugby Championship. Castle Lager Rugby Championship. South Africa against Argentina, the finale. Not often you don't see the All Blacks challenging for a trophy. But it's quite interesting to have the Pumas, and it gives this game a bit of spice where we probably thought this wouldn't have had much spice.
Yeah, I think I said it to you at the end of our last little interview earlier in the week after, I think it was the morning after the game in San Diego. I said that it sounds terribly unpatriotic, but in a way I was pleased that the more I think about it, the less pleased I am. We really we really shouldn't have lost that game. I mean, I was going to say we didn't deserve to lose. We did deserve. The Springboks did deserve to lose, but really it wasn't a game that a world champion team should be losing. Those 4 tries given away in such quick time, was to me a glaring sort of error on the part of the Boks. And some of them were quite bad defensive errors. But to go back to what you're saying, it is nice having something on this last game. It would have also been great to come here sort of knowing that it was just going to be a celebration. But I fancy then the Boks might, I think Rassie does sort of welcome this sort of situation. He likes the players to be under pressure. You don't learn anything by playing 10 games against Portugal, or 10 games against the Argentinian side of the past. You play a couple of games against top opposition and teams that have beaten you before, and you've got something on the line. That's how good players prove that they belong at the highest level.
Yeah, I think it's you could feel it being around the city here in Nelspruit the whole week. You could feel the sort of. It feels like an old school test match. It feels like the whole sort of town, city, it's not a town, is sort of coming together for this. There's a lot of excitement around it. Sold out. It's the first time Argentina have ever sold out in South Africa in the modern era, which is, and I'm not sure they ever sold out they might have somewhere in the 80s or something like that, when we didn't have international sport. When
they came here as the Jaguars, I remember one of my first test matches I ever went to. In fact, probably the first test match, because I'd been to All Black games against Natal and that at Kings Park. They played the Jaguars in Durban in 1980, and that was definitely a sellout.
Yeah. So in the modern era, it's the first time that they've sold out. So that's great news. Just looking this week, there's been a lot of reaction. I felt the fan reaction, which is I understand people don't like Springboks losing, but I felt some of it was a bit overboard. We're talking about a team that's gone unbeaten in the Rugby Championship until last week, and then lost by 1 point with the last kick of the game. It's hardly the eras of the past, when they lost 57-0 or anything like that. But I suppose in the context of this team, it just shows you how high the standards are and what the expectations are from fans.
Well, it is the thing now that when you're a successful team, you build up expectations, and you don't expect them to lose now. And I think the All Blacks had it. One of the reasons that the All Blacks are still overreact. I mean, I still think that they overreacted to 2 test defeats against the Boks, is because they're used to that culture of success. And I think South Africans, they don't want to give ammunition, because we always know that there's people out there who don't like the Springboks. And I must say that our old mate Stephen Jones, who I really rate as a journalist, but he does sometimes think that he's got appear to have something in for the Boks. He was at it again, I think the day before yesterday, talking about how it was great. It was the Pumas were challenging the All Blacks and the Springboks. Let's see them win games more consistently against the Springboks before we start talking about them challenging. I think that this was the game in San Diego, the one that the Boks lost last week, was the first time the Boks have lost since Santiago, not in America, not in the United States, but it was the first game that the Boks have lost to Argentina since they became world champions in 2019. And I think subsequent to 2019, Springbok rugby has taken a step up, but both in the quality of their rugby, in the depth of our game, and also in the status of the expectations. The last time Rassie, prior to San Diego, the previous time that Rassie lost to them was that in his very first season, where he was fooling around with his selections because he was trying to get everything right, I think, for the All Blacks, if I remember correctly. So things have changed since then. So that's why there maybe was a bit of a overreaction, but and it's understandable. I mean, we don't want the Boks to lose. I was more disappointed, to be honest, with the second test against Ireland, because that was a game where we really need to make. We know that we're better than Argentina. I mean, I expect the Boks to, and we're going to talk about this later, but I expect the Boks to win comfortably on Saturday. But against Ireland, there was a lot to prove, because they'd beaten us so many times in a row, and we know the Irish people think their team's the world champions. So that game in Durban, where we threw it away in the last 20 minutes of that game. Our game management was terrible in the last 10 minutes of that game. I was far more upset about that game just because it was like that's the unofficial World Championship, and in the end, Ireland left here having drawn the series 1-1 rather than having taught a lesson, which I thought was going to happen.
Well, and I think they are number one in the world rankings now again after the loss last week, which makes a bit of a mockery of that loss because of the world rankings, should I say? Because I mean, yeah, it's one loss, and Ireland will lose games in the Six Nations here and there. So I just find it quite bizarre that. But
I didn't even know that. That's ridiculous. How does that
well,
come about?
if we apparently lose, we lose points because Argentina.
Because the people don't rate Argentina that high.
Yeah, they're not.
Argentina would give Ireland a good.
It's
go.
like the Dutch.
They beat France. They beat France and Argentina not that long ago.
The thing with Argentina, though, is you talk about consistency's been their biggest problem. Even this season, I mean, they had that wonderful win over the All Blacks in Wellington, and the next week got pumped. And so that's their big thing. They lost their first game against Australia, and then turned it on in the second game. So
well, every time a team that's more highly rated than them has to respond after a poor performance against Argentina, they do. South Africa have done it historically. New Zealand have done it a couple of, because they responded. They'd lost in New Zealand, I think 2 years ago as well, and they responded and won quite well the following week. So that to me is a growing sort of step that's a step that Argentina have to take. But Tommy, you were here this week. I know that the box spoke about the area where Argentina has improved, and I have been looking at that, and I mean it's just quite phenomenal that our discipline. We've got areas that we need to improve, and one of them is discipline. I mean, we just have way too many cards. There have been cards in just about every game, whereas Argentina haven't had a card in, I think, the last 12 games.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back. I mean, even thinking that game in Brisbane where the Boks were 30 points up, and they had 2 yellow cards right in the last 10 minutes, and it allowed Australia to score. There has been disciplinary problems. It is an issue, and although they're good enough to scramble and scrap and win, and even against the All Blacks, where the All Blacks got cards, that sort of turned it in the Boks' favour. Their play hasn't been great overall. There's been areas in every game that you can pinpoint, but on your point about Argentina, they haven't had a single card in this rugby championship, which is surprising because that's normally part of their downfall in most games. And I say that with knowing that Thomas Lavanini is back in the team and he's the yellow card merchant.
But they'll get one on Saturday.
But he certainly is a borderline player, great player, but sometimes crosses that line too quickly. But they've been brilliant in terms of that discipline, and that's somewhere this BOK team still needs to go. So, a friend of ours, John Cardinelli, did a story the other day about how many of this BOK team are going to be too old or 35 plus by the next World Cup, and it's a very interesting one. And he made the point there that the Boks have got 30, 33, 34 tests before a World Cup. If you think that's not a lot of time, especially when you started with players who had their first test of the season, Sasha, those type of guys. So you need to use these opportunities, and those selections are going to bite you sometime, and I thought they bit them last week.
Well, I mean, a lot of people talk to me about Rassie being a genius and being brave and being bold and taking gambles. I don't actually necessarily see it that way. In fact, I don't necessarily see it. I don't need to qualify it. I don't see it that way. It's like Sasha's selection. People are sort of saying, "Well, gee, that's a bold decision, and it's a stroke." Somebody said to me, "It's a stroke of genius on his part," because I don't think he's got a choice. We need three flower halves, and if Marnie was thrown away after that game last week, when do you bring him back? Because imagine that we get to Twickenham in November, and both Andre and Sasha are injured, which could happen. Who's the next cab off the rank? It's Marnie, and then Rassie has to sit there in front of the media and say, "I rate Marnie, and we have full confidence in him." Whereas we would know that he doesn't because he's dropped him after one miss in Argentina. And when it comes to him changing up selections, he also doesn't have an option. He has got, whether we like it or not, he has got a very old team, and if you've got a very old team, you can't expect. I know that all the players say. I mean, we did it into. Well, it wasn't actually this week, but I was looking at a YouTube interview with Damien Derlendi before the game in Cape Town against the All Blacks, and I was part of an interview with Jesse Creel a couple of weeks before that, and those guys all sort of are quite convinced that they could still be around in a couple of years' time, but. We're only going to know that when that time arrives, and it would actually be a dereliction of duty on Russie's part, given the depth of talent we have in this country. I mean, if we were another nation and we didn't have any depth, then I'd say, listen, just play these guys until they die. But we don't have that. We don't have that excuse.
I was going to say, you talk about the Flavs, and I mean, I had a conversation with a couple of people this week about who's the next guy. Because obviously everyone's talking about Marnie, but if not Marnie, who's the next guy? And Jordan Hendricks' name comes up because obviously his Currie Cup final kick that everybody watched, and a brilliant kick for him.
Played fullback there.
Yeah, exactly. But then you think to yourself, he's had one test.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to put him in now and play him for the next 20 odd tests, where is he going to get a chance there? And I reckon he will get a chance on the end of year tour. But you're going to have a situation where you're going to have guys with 10, 15 caps going into that World Cup.
And it's actually, Jordan is an excellent example, because if you go back and watch that test against Wales, I mean, it's not like I'm going to do that because it wasn't like the most memorable game, but I've got a very good memory of that game. It was the same day as you were at Loftus for the URC final. He was actually very nervous in that first test. So he does need another run at some point to when he's got less nerves. We talk about Marnie missing kicks. I mean, he missed kicks in that game. It was Sasha who came on and nailed that long kick. I mean, he was the guy who showed nerves of steel. But I think when I wrote the match report of that game, I think I mentioned a nervy performance from Jordan Hendricks. And the only the way you're going to get rid of those nerves, or alternatively, whether the coaches are going to find out whether it's nerves or you just don't belong at that level, is actually to play. And Russie has to do that. And John's quite right. I actually written, I think for one of my Business Day columns earlier in the year, I counted the number of tests that were left. It's not a lot. Everybody thinks 4 years. 4 years isn't a lot. And 2027 is going to be here before you know it. And you don't want a fly half like Marnie was at the last World Cup, who had played 10 or 11 tests by the time the World Cup arrives. You want the fly halves that are going to be required. And Andre could be injured or too old. Sasha could be injured. He's a very physical player. I think he's going to get injured a lot in his career. And then, of course, there's I'm sort of completely, just suddenly came into my brain now. You mentioned the fourth fly half. The fourth fly half probably isn't Jordan. It's probably actually Damien Willemse. I think if you speak to Russie, he'll probably tell you that Damien Willemse.
But then I want to throw in another spanner in that works. Then you'll have Sharks fans saying, "What about Sia Masuku?" And but the point I'm making, and this is not disparaging any of those guys, but there is a pecking order, and there is only limited time and limited tests, and somewhere somebody's going to lose out, and it's always unfortunate because we've got a lot of talent in our country, but that's precisely the thing. There's not enough tests to give everybody a decent run, and obviously the caveat to that is as well, you have to win still. So people want the Springboks to win. They want the results to stay the same, and to do that, you can't just throw all the experienced players out, and that jigsaw puzzle is difficult.
Well, on Sia Masuku, the URC starts. Well, it started last week, but it actually starts. The Vodacom United Rugby Championship starts for the South African teams tomorrow. So let's see Sia Masuku get a proper run there before we start talking about whether he's a Springbok or not. I don't know if John Plumtree thinks that he's an international player. I think he rates Jordan as well, but I think. I think some of the rest of the coaches actually think, talking about David Williams and company, also I believe that Jordan is probably a better fly half than he is a fullback, but they're giving him a run at fullback to see how he goes there. Remembering too, of course, that the Sharks have Afalele Fassi. So Jordan might well end up having to move back to fly half. I think that they will probably choose him ahead of Masuku when that time comes. My money says that. I think that Jordan Hendricks is a better fly half than Sia Masuku. Sia Masuku is a very good guy to have in your books, and he kicks well under pressure and so forth. But I'm not sure, having watched the last couple of games of the Currie Cup, I'm not sure he has quite the sort of stamp on the game than some of the other fly halves we're talking about, and that includes
But he's also, I mean, he can still develop as well.
Yeah, he's 27.
So, yeah. But okay, let's turn to obviously we're talking about the celebration in this weekend's game. The one big celebration, which there will be, win or lose, and obviously bigger if they win, is Eben Etzebeth becoming the most capped Springbok of all time. Yeah, he's certainly been a servant of Springbok rugby, and quite a, and I've said it before as well, quite a different guy away from the field than you see on the field. He's a very interesting person, and often, sort of, because he's so aggressive on the field, sort of tagged with that line. But yeah, I think Evan's been a great servant for South African rugby, and he's part of, and I don't think we say it enough, but he's part of this golden generation, because this is a golden generation. If you think of Rassie mentioned the other day, the first 4 guys he signed was Eben Sear, Frans Malherbe, and Stephen Kitsoff.
And all at the Western Province
Yeah,
Academy. And Damien Delendi was part of under 19. He wasn't at the academy, but he was part of that under 19 team. He was still at the school. I don't know if you read my piece this morning in supersport.com. He was part of the Western Province under 19 team because Western Province school selectors had ignored him. Damien Delendi didn't play Craven Week, so the coach of Milnerton, Heinrich Martin, took him to Nazeem Adams, who was the under-19 coach at the time, and said, listen, please look at this guy. He's been ignored by the Western Province school selectors. I think that he's a good player. Give him a chance. And he went and he played a trial game, and then he ended up playing every Western Province under-19. So he wasn't part of that academy. He wasn't signed by Rassie then, but he was part of the under-19 team that represented the academy. So he was in with Sear and with Frans Malherbe, with Stephen Kitsoff, with Eben, and with I was trying to think of these. No, Scurra and Tabeni. Okay, he never went on to become a great Springbok, but Scurra was also part of that group, and Nizam Khan actually was also part of that group, if I remember correctly. So it was a golden generation, certainly for Western Province. The first time I came across Eben Etzebeth, funnily enough, was quite interesting because he had played Varsity Cup rugby, but at that stage I wasn't watching. I sometimes get interested in Varsity Cup rugby, and then other times I don't. I always just sort of feel like there's too many gimmicks and things in Varsity Cup rugby. I find it hard. I'm too much of a traditionalist. I mean, a try's always got to be 5 points. It can't be sort of more points because they've started off, the genesis of the movement started off further back in the field. That doesn't make sense. So I struggle with Varsity Cup rugby. But he'd obviously played for UCT at that point, Eben Etzebeth. But I was actually at a great legend. In fact, the man he's overtaking tomorrow. That's Victor Matfield. I was at his book launch in Cape Town. You remember that him and De Jong Boortschard wrote that book. I think it was in 2011. It was actually the same year that I did Peter de Villiers' book. And I was at Victor's book launch. So if I remember correctly, it was at the One and Only in Cape Town. And he had this guy, this really strong-looking guy with him, and I didn't know who he was, a young guy. And I thought, and I asked somebody, I said, who is that? And they said, no, it's Eben Etzebeth. And of course, I knew the name because the Etzebeth are legends in Cape Town. Very tough family that he comes from, and also very good at wrestling as well. But I remember somebody said, no, he's one of the Etzebeths. And I think Victor at the time was probably had spent the day with him. I think he was trying to get him to come to the Bulls. I think Victor probably recognized that there was a great talent coming up, and Victor's been proved correct because tomorrow Eben's going to overtake his record.
Well, that's the thing. And I mean, Eben looks like he can still play another couple of years. Of course, he should be managed, but yeah, he can easily make it to another World Cup. And I think he's one of the guys I would hope makes it to another World Cup. Because if you look at the lock stocks at the moment, especially for lock, there's not many. I mean, Solomon's the next guy, but there's behind him, there's not too many. There's a couple of youngsters coming through. But again, same thing as we spoke. They're not getting tests at the moment. So.
You've given me an opening here to talk about Solomon, actually, because I know that there's some people still knocking Solomon after last week's game. And I watched that game again, the Santiago game. And you watch that, you've got to always remember what type of game the Boks are playing on a given day. And everybody's like expecting Solomon to be this big carrier like Eben Etzebeth is, and that they expect him to be like this aggressive guy who's going to charge into the opposition. And on days he is that. But if you watch the role that he played last week's game, he's obviously got really good soft skills because remember the Springboks were running the ball from all over the place, and remember they also have designated carriers. So the designated carriers were Ruan Notke was carrying quite a lot, but the guy who's carrying the most probably was Jasper Wiese and Malcolm Marx. They had those guys as the carriers. So Solomon wasn't actually operating as a carrier in that game. He was standing there. I mean, I wish this was a ball. Like he would get the ball. and then like he'd be the guy who'd either turn it that way or turn it that way. He's almost like a sort of fly half, the first receiver. I mean, that was the role that he was playing in that game. Like Damien Delendi at one stage was criticised by everybody because people said he can't pass. He just runs, takes the ball up. But that's the game that the Springboks were playing at that time, particularly at that World Cup under Heineke, where after the defeat to Japan and Brighton, it was understandable that Heineke sort of almost got a bit spooked. So we went ultra conservative, and it wasn't just Damien who took the ball up. It was almost like Skulk played flower half that. Well, Skulk Berger I'm talking about. Remember, they just took the ball up, and you would think that Damien doesn't have a pass, but we all know that Damien does have a pass. Ask him to play a different game, and he will. So, and that's the story with Salman as well. He wasn't actually a designate. He didn't look like he was a designate. He came on later on, and he actually ended up playing with Urban, and he carried a few times then in those last few minutes. But in that first part of the game, this was Salman's role, like, you know, getting the ball, and he'd either bring in this guy, he'd bring in that guy, like switching direction. It was almost like he was the fulcrum of directing the traffic, if you like. So criticism of Salman after last week's game because we didn't see him be the traditional full lock. No, you didn't. But clearly that wasn't the plan.
Yeah, I think, listen, my whole thing with that is we've seen in our careers players who start slowly, who take a while to become good Springboks, who sort of flourish at certain times, and the coaches know this. And I feel, just on the bottom line, Rassie and them have earned the right to know what they're doing with him. And I think I said it to you the other day in the conversation. I said it reminds me a little bit about Sia, right at the start of Sia's career as well. He was also not the most flashy player. There was also people saying, is he good enough?
I think Salman is flashier. I mean, what I'm talking to you about just now, he actually look at his ball skills. For a lock, he's got amazing ball skills. If I think of a lock with great ball skills, then I would think of Argentinian Snyman. I think that guy's got the best ball skills of a lock in the world, outside of the Kiwis. The Kiwis always have great forwards that have and the other guy who's actually got good ball skills, funnily enough, and it may be because he was also coached by John Mitchell for a season or two at the Bulls, was actually Lot Diop.
Yeah, no, that's good, great ball skills. And both of them got these ultra long arms. I mean, that's the other thing. You can get your ball away. This weekend, let's look quickly at the selections. Other than Mani,
we can still talk about Mani too.
No, I know, but because,
I mean, to me, there's no debate. I mean, Rassie is 100% correct to retain Mani.
Yeah, look, I agree with that because I think the best thing, and Rassie made it quite clear, best thing is to get back on the horse, and I agree totally with that because, as you said, and you made the point. It's not like we've got other guys at the moment, and he is our third fly half, so you have to back him.
And he's as a fly half, not as a kicker, as a fly half. He is actually international class. He is a very good fly half. He played, I counted it, I think he's played 60 minutes this year because he played for the first 40 minutes against Portugal, and then I think he played, did he play 20 or 30 last week? He didn't play very long last week, so he's played 60 or 70 minutes. It's very difficult to get up your momentum when you played so little.
His tactical kicking was very good last week. I went back and looked at it, and I mean, as we spoke on Sunday, in that his first kick was actually more difficult than the one he missed, and to me, so I agree, he hasn't had a lot of chance, and I think just other thing that people also a lot of times, and we've seen it so many times in Springbok teams in the past, where a coach loses a change room, where something like that happens, where the first sign of weakness, a coach panics, and he throws the player out, etc., and then he starts losing the change room, because then the other players say, well, if it can happen to him, if I have one bad game, I'm gone. Now, I know people are going to say, yeah, but you play for the jersey and you have to play your best game, but we're all human. The players are human. They have those, and players get backed by coaches, and players play with confidence because they get backed. So in that respect, I think it's a great decision with Mani. Plus, they said they're going to have backup for him. So Cheslin and Jaden have both been kicking at practice. Why
did they actually give Damien a chance to kick? Because I was talking to a schools coach yesterday, and he was talking about apparently he plays for Wild Nice Panasonic. Yeah. Apparently, he's been kicking goals quite well for them. I'm not sure. He was a school at Milnerton High. He was a schoolboy kicker. But I mean, when I say school, I mean he was the guy who kicked for posts, and apparently he hardly ever missed. So they should actually give him a go at some point.
They should. Well, I mean,
but just staying, it's just like,
maybe we'll see even kick a conversion this weekend on his.
I mean, why can't a lock kick? I mean,
John Eels did.
I remember. I can't remember what the occasion was, but Ollie Leroux kicking a conversion right at the end of a Sharks game many years ago. But the thing with Mani is that he's just give the guy an opportunity. I mean, he hasn't played much this year. He doesn't. We said it. I mean, I don't want to contradict myself. I don't like him as the first choice goal kicker. But having said that, sometimes there are times when he doesn't miss. I mean, there were times for the Storm. I think he was the top scorer in the URC that year that the Stormers won the URC. There are times when he doesn't miss, and I always use the example of Percy Montgomery's the best example of a player who was sprayed it all over the place early in his career. Then later on, he was like a metronome and he was kicking him from all over the place. Ruan Pienaar, I think we mentioned before. But to me, it's just Mani has to play again after what happened last week. He does need another chance to play, and I've got a feeling that we'll see him play really well on Saturday.
I was going to say the selection, I was going to ask about the other selections, because they've gone with type in terms of we expected the same midfield. We expected the two wingers to be who they are, Cheslin and Kirtley. Not surprised Apalele got another shot because he's done well, and again trying to get a guy to get more and more caps. And then Mani and of course Jaden, I think because of his tactical kicking, he'll take some pressure off Mani as well. And then I looked at it. The interesting thing for me was going with the 5-3 bench. And it seems every time we've got a team that wants to try and run us off our feet. I haven't gone to check these stats, so I might be a little bit wrong. But the feeling I have is that then we revert to a 5-3. We don't go for the 6-2 because we're a bit worried. And this weekend, Argentina are going to come out and try and score tries. Could be a good or a bad thing for them. We'll have to see. But I do think that's probably one of the things that influenced the bet.
I do think that there's an interesting trend, and I think we have discussed this before with Lecanio. It looks like they're pushing him at 12. Andre Esthuizen, I mean, talking about cards, I mean, since that red card against Portugal, we haven't seen him again. Yeah. And I do almost get the feeling that the type of rugby that the Boks are playing, and I'm not saying that Andre Esthuizen doesn't have soft skills anyway, because the guys at Harlequins will tell you that when he played for Harlequins, he was a great passer of the ball. But in South African rugby, he's often just that traditional South African guy, the enforcer who takes the ball up, like Damien was asked to be in the 2015 World Cup, and we were talking about before. So yeah, I do find I find interesting what type of centres, what type of midfields we're putting out now. When we got Lecanio at 12, it's a very different type of midfield to our traditional sort of South African midfields. And yeah, it's just interesting looking at that at that BOK team now. How you look at when you look at the bench, we don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. Like, the opposition won't know, but we also don't know. Is Andre going to come on at 12 and play the rest of the game as a 12, and then maybe we'll see Lecanio moving into 13, his usual position? There are just so many options open to Rassie, and he can just keep the opposition guessing.
Well, the one I find very interesting is we don't have a lock on the bench, and that's partly because I'm sure part of it is because of all the injuries we've got at the moment, but the other part of it is Elric's going to double up with that. So does Peter Steff go to lock? Probably will. Yeah, and that's the probable one. But Elric has played lock as well. He's not the tallest lock, but he can do it in an emergency. But they obviously feel he's the one player I feel in terms of physicality has stood up in this test season, and he's impressed me because I always thought he was a bit at times one-dimensional for the Bulls, but he's really impressed me with.
No, he's impressed me as well. I had my doubts about him before the season started. I wouldn't say I had my doubts about Ruan Oki. I just thought that he'd take a while to develop, and he's actually impressed me as well. I think Ruan's also making strides forward.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, Ruan's thing to me, his work rate, anybody who watches him at the Bulls knows his work rate is unquestionable. But I always felt maybe he needs another 5 or 10 kgs on him.
You're talking about Ruan now. Absolutely, as a lock. And you know what? It's one of my big bugbears. We talk about it a lot. We can't play a 12-month season, and one of the reasons we can't play a 12-month season isn't just because it fatigues the players, but we need a period where the guys can condition themselves. And he's a player that needs conditioning. Funnily enough, I think that Kane Moody probably needs a bit of conditioning, because he's a guy who can bump players off, but he put on a couple of extra kilograms of muscle, that guy. and I promise you he'll be South Africa's Jonah Lomu. Okay, Jonah Lomu's a bit extreme, but he would be that kind of player.
Interesting, just turning to Argentina's selection. 7 changes to their starting lineup. They obviously lost Marcus Kramer coming in here, but they've dropped Pablo Matera. What's his name? Juan Martin Gonzalez. I must get this right because there's so many Juan Martins in Argentinian rugby. The one who plays at Saracens, the flankers in there as well. And then the back they got Santiago Carreras at fullback, which is interesting. So they got both their fly-offs in the back line. So it's an interesting one. They're obviously looking. They feel that gives them the edge, and they can score tries that way, and they can rack up points that way.
You sort of expect there to be changes though when you've got a very short turnover change around, and you've played one game in South America, and then you're playing the next one, and you'll remember that when the All Blacks. Because for a long time in the Rugby Championship, it used to be that the All Blacks would go for their penultimate game. They would go to Argentina, and then they would come here, sort of on the way home. And they never played the same teams in both those games. Even if the Rugby Championship was on the line, they never did that. They always made 7 or 8 changes, and they made a lot of changes. And I mean, normally it would be the top team that played at Ellis Park. And then a sort of changed up team there, but I think there is something in that. I mean, that you don't, if you're playing 2 games, and if I was the Argentinian coach, I'd also think of the emotion of last week. I think we've seen this season that the emotion of a big win can sometimes rebound on you a week later, and if you've got like a transatlantic flight on top of all of that, I think he's being wise to have fresh players. The Boks will have fresh players on Saturday. I mean, a lot of the guys. I mean, the Damien Delendi's coach at Milnerton was telling me he was at the school the week before last because he had a week off. He wasn't in Argentina with the rest of the guys. So they're fresh and they're hungry.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons. Rossi also pointed to it this week. One of the reasons why they did that is because the way the Rugby Championship works at the moment, they flew back on a charter flight together, both teams. And he said, it's not like in the old days we used to do Tri-Nations and you used to come back and you'd wait for them. There'd be a week off and then they'd arrive. And so you don't get that advantage of being at home and waiting for a team anymore. They came with you, and and that's why they've obviously left players here and they've tried to mix it up. I think we must get to a prediction.
I think I must say happy birthday to you first. You were talking when you were talking earlier on about Eerden Epsebeth. You were talking about Eben Etzebeth, and you said there's a big celebration. I was thinking, is that the way you talk about your birthday? But I mean, it's today, of course. It's not on Saturday. Eben's big day is on Saturday. Your birthday is tonight, so I hope you have a good time.
Well, thank you. And we'll also have a celebration tonight. We'll definitely have a beer or two at least, or something.
Yeah, definitely. And a nice peri-peri chicken somewhere. We're close to Mozambique. There's also a restaurant called Mozambique.
Yeah, we'll be in the restaurant Mozambique.
Well, it's just not far. I mean, go down to Komatipoort and you can cross the border. We could go to Maputo tonight.
We might not make it back before the game. That's what worries me, and not because we think of anything dangerous.
I forgot to bring my passport anyway. So,
well, there's the reason. Just a prediction. I think I didn't have a birthday present from West Ham last night. Gavin's very happy.
Oh yes, I've got about 5-1. 5-1 to Liverpool. 1-1 at half time though. That's when I stopped following.
No, I was watching. We were sitting in a local pub here, the Jock. People know the Jock around here, and I was watching when it became 2-1 when they got the red card. Yeah, then I just thought, okay, well, that's it. So hopefully the Boks can give me a proper present this week.
And they will. The Boks to win by at least 15.
Yeah, I think
I'm not going to interrogate it further. That's my thing. At least mark those words. At least 15. So if they win by 35, it doesn't mean I was wrong.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an emphatic victory. I'm not sure if it's going to be emphatic on the scoreboard, but it'll be comfortable. But I think it'll be emphatic on the field.
I don't think we're going to be sitting there gnawing our nails. And I think I've told you I've got that acid reflux problem, which seems to have miraculously gone in the last couple of days. But I had it in Cape Town and that whole game because that game was just always so close.
I should have had a camera on you. You would have been quite funny to watch. But anyway.
And the last minutes of the Ellis Park game. I mean, when the Boks came back, and then I think Saturday is going to be a game where it's not going to be squeaky bum territory. I think we're going to see the Boks win fairly comfortably, and it will be the Boks. I don't think we were wrong. Well, I was wrong earlier in the week. I know in my SuperSport piece, and in fact, when we spoke last, we were talking about points differential and everything, and obviously it's not points differential. If Argentina win with the bonus point, and they deny South Africa. And obviously, if they get a bonus point, it means they've scored three more tries. But that's not going to happen. I mean, so
they've only won in South Africa once, and that was in 2015 in Durban. In the all their tests here in South Africa. So it would have to be a hell of a shake-up for them to win like that. You could see them maybe even sneaking a win, but I can't see. I think what's going to happen is they're going to go out all guns blazing, and the Boks will take control of that. They'll shut that down. So as I say,
here's one thing though, because the one thing we haven't spoken about is we're standing up here. I mean, I got out of the car today, came down with air conditioning and everything. I was in Joburg last night, and I came down today, and I got out and I felt like I was in Dubai. I mean, that's how hot it was. And last week, Rassie sort of used the excuse. One of the things he said was that it was very hot over there. The one team that maybe there's two teams that we don't have an advantage against in the heat. One would be Argentina, and obviously if we played Japan, because Japan, I've been to Japan, they play rugby in some excruciating heat. But every other nation we've got an advantage against. This one, the Argentinians, we don't. They want -37 degrees heat here on Saturday.
And it's hot. So if you're coming to Nelspruit, bring a hat, bring lots of liquid refreshment, whatever that form that takes for you, so that you can keep yourself hydrated, because that's something we're going to go do soon. And let us know your comments and your predictions. Do you think Gavin and I are wrong? I'm sure you'll tell us in the comments. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. We'll be back on Sunday analysing the BOK victory, hopefully.
Will be a BOK victory.
Yeah.
And I don't have a shadow of a doubt.
Well, we'll chat to you then. Cheers.